The morning big red in the morning big red big red big in the morning big red in the morning big red in the morning big red red in the morning boom ding boom ding boom ding boom boom ding 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 bam 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 boom ding 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 big red in the morning boom hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. We're cooking with ass. Dunbar. First, never the worst. Always first, never the worst. And Lou's gearing up to be the first in the YouTube. This is good stuff. This is great. We love this. We love this over here, Big Red in the morning. We love this. Today we got another Tucker Carlson video. And I can spend a little bit more time with you boys and girls because I don't have to do bullshit till later this afternoon. White Boy Winter for Giants fans with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo. That's a good name. That's a fucking name. Hey, Sidewalk Toes. How you doing, brother? Yes, we are on the Panties channel today. What's up, big dog? Yes, we are on our, it is my one court ordered visitation day with the Panties channel. I actually want to be there more often, but the court won't let me. No, I'm just kidding. What is up, Panties channel? Thank you so much for coming in here. Just remember, oh, look at that. Already a sub. Big Red in the morning going for 2 minutes and 14 seconds. And there's already a new sub on the Big Red in the Morning channel. Please go check that out over there. Oh, wait, I'm on it already over here. I was going to try to grab the link and send it to you guys. Yeah, Big Red in the Morning's great, man. We keep it low key on the Panties channel, but mainly we just dead name trans people and, dog whistle white supremacy. It's a pretty fun fucking time over there. If you guys are into any of that shit. If you guys like dog whistles, do you guys like dog whistles? Because, that's the biggest attribute of these people. Subtlety. You know how Donald Trump is subtle about what he's doing? He needs to dog whistle other things. You know how these people are super subtle about the horrible things that they do? It's very important that they dog whistle the things. I need to start commenting first. Yes, you do. And everyone needs to start I need to start pestering you guys to do all the gay shit, like and comment, and definitely algo boost this, dude. I'm not trying to fucking worry about this shit. This is a whole group effort. This is a group effort so I can have a fake job. I don't know what you guys are doing. I think you guys need to take your head out of your ass and just what the fuck? Sorry, I just saw a comment. Okay, sorry about that. I still want that parasocial relationship with your cousin. Not happening, Buster. Not happening, Buster. But keep waiting. Keep waiting. I don't know. Well, parasocial, I guess that would vaguely be appropriate. Still wouldn't be appropriate. I don't know why I said vaguely. Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna start a podcast or anything like that. Let's throw on a video while people get in here because I'm curious about these AJ Brown updates.
how often either an offensive coordinator is deciding to get them the ball, or a quarterback is deciding to get them the ball, or an offensive line can protect for a quarterback to get them the ball. A lot of things depend on other people for how they're going to be remembered and how much money they're going to make. So I think the wide receiver in nature is naturally a little bit louder than everybody else. A little bit more demanding, we would say. The position as a whole kind of has that. So balancing two superstar wide receivers as they were a run-dominant team last year, I thought Nick Sirianni did an incredible job with that. The wide receivers were actually the guys that dumped the Gatorade on Sirianni, Devontae and A.J. Brown. Then A.J. Brown gets targeted 9 times, has 2 receptions, and they don't complete a pass in the second half of a game in which they go to 4-0. A.J. Brown, who's a guy that we saw him go for 100-plus just a couple weeks ago, still got it, absolute beast. He puts out a tweet, says, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way. Now, doing all that does the complete opposite of everything in the middle of that particular take there, but he didn't outright say anything, so I think he's still good. He's just saying, worse people wouldn't do it the way I'm doing it right now, so good for me. Here's Nick Sirianni answering to A.J. Brown about his importance on the team.
Yeah. Obviously A.J. is very important.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, I'd be very sad if AJ Brown left. I don't want AJ Brown to leave. He seems to be doing a really good job. I always joke I don't have the most extensive football knowledge, but from what I've gathered about these here Philadelphia Eagles is pretty good. But that could also be about someone else. Maybe AJ Brown's talking about someone else.
To this football team. I know he wants to contribute. And, do the things that he's capable of doing. But yeah, he wants to contribute into these wins. And he's had a couple games where he hasn't been able to, and for different reasons of why we haven't in these games. So, but I question nothing about, his desire to play great football, his desire of being a good teammate, his desire to be here.
We'll go to Jeff Nyberg and then John McMullen.
Nick, how do you go about addressing a situation like that with AJ? Is it something you talked to him about last night after it happens? Do you talk to him today? Have you talked to him, and what was that conversation like?
Good question.
Yeah, obviously, always talk to him. Somebody I talk to on a daily basis. I try to reach out to all our guys on a daily basis, and won't get into, any private conversations that we have with any of the players about any topic, right? That's sacred relationship between the head coach and players, and we'll always keep that private, but always in constant communication with all these guys.
Okay, Coach B.A., wide receiver position and head coach relationship is obviously one of those ones that has been seen publicly. You're a part of one of them. With AB, obviously, with how that whole thing goes. And from what I've heard, AB worked his ass off, showed up at everything, but obviously expected ball as well. A lot of other wide receivers, same situation. How do you think Coach Sirianni handles this, and what do you think A.J. Brown's end game is here? Do you think he wants the ball more? Do you think this is a way to try to get the ball more? Do you think he wants out? What do you think it is, and how would you handle it?
I think he just wants to contribute to the winning. They've had so much success. I think Nick's handling it perfectly. It's a personal thing between he and the head coach, and he and the receiver coach, and the quarterback. And they've got so many weapons. There's just one ball, and one guy can't get it all the time. So if you're doubling him, Devontae might get it. Or they might start doubling Devontae. He'll get it. I think there are ways to get cheap catches. All right.
Do you feel like you got to do that sometimes with some people? Hey, we got to get him into game.
I got to get him. He's got to have a ball in the first 5 plays because they're looking at the script. When am I getting the ball? Where's my play?
First 15.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
First thing. And I've had a few of them. It's like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to get this screen. I'm going to get this ball on this one. Okay, I'm happy. I'll play my ass off. All right? If you don't, say,
I didn't even think about getting the first 15 either a couple days beforehand or the night before and just being like, I'm not even a part of this.
The fuck is this?
Yeah, and so you go into the game mad almost.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're going into the game pissed, and then whenever it ends up happening, how the script kind of laid out to it, then there's even more, and A.J. Brown's like, I don't want to be, he's kind of Trey Hendrickson this. He's kind of Trey, I don't want to be the guy that says this, but What the fuck is what he's basically tweeted there? And Sirianni having the juggle, that's going to have to be a real thing for this team because they're very good without throwing the ball. I mean, they're 4-0 right now.
Yeah.
They're fresh off a Super Bowl champion. I mean, like there's no end in sight for this team.
If they weren't winning, it'd be a big problem. Winning solves a lot of these issues. All right. If you're 1-3 and this shit's going on, it's a whole different story.
Do you think one loss brings this conversation to the forefront yet again?
No, they're still gonna be in first place, and I think this team's pretty tight. You could tell, and I think there've never been a great wide receiver that I've coached that didn't want the damn ball. All right, it's your job as a coach to get him the ball.
So you're saying you think maybe the script will change a little bit. Let's go ahead and just put him at running back here.
Yeah.
We can wheel route this thing. And if he doesn't want it to be a rush, he wants it to be a reception, we'll have Jalen back up a foot and kind of just give him this ball. Do the run draw. Let's get him. Let's get A.J. Brown in this game. You think that happens and that's what he's doing this for sure?
Oh, I know it happens.
Go ahead.
We've done it many times.
Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Ma, what's up, brother? Hey, Anorexic Dyslexic, how you doing? Brown can force his way to the Redskins and make a lot of people happy. I don't know. I'd probably want to, if I was, I don't know. Eagles are low key like the best team in the league right now. I mean, I don't even think it's low key. I think it's like obvious. I will say this: Jalen Hurts is the fucking man. Jalen Hurts is the absolute fucking man. Josh Allen might be one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch, though. You know what I'm saying? I'd be so curious to see because like some of the shit, like Eagles to me are like a whole, like they're a whole unit. That's why it's like when you see someone like AJ Brown, if he's posting cryptic tweets about wanting to leave, maybe hopefully he's, and this could just be wishful thinking, but hopefully he's just talking shit about someone else and not wanting to leave my precious Eagles. I love you so much, AJ Brown. Please don't leave. Hopefully that's what he's doing. I don't know. But like, I think it's like the team. That's what I was like wondering, dude. And I'm starting to understand the hypotheticals of when dudes just sit around and because now I'm starting to know the players and immediately I go, what would? And I feel bad saying this because it's not like I don't want Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts seems like an integral part of the Eagles. And I was going to say, like, if you could keep the Eagles what they are with Jalen Hurts, but throw Josh Allen's goofy ass in there, it'd be such an interesting team to watch. But I don't think you have the current version of the Eagles without Jalen Hurts. He seems like a big leader who's a big he seems like a big element of glue keeping those boys together, just keeping them nice and tight together. I can't watch that documentary. It reminds me of that tragedy. Well, they did say never forget, Chris, so that's kind of the fucking point. It's crazy you're trying to forget. Yeah, as a Skins fans, the Eagles are a problem. Yeah, I think it's I don't think because I think I was talking about I was trying to talk about this, but God, I don't know. I'm mixed about. Tell me what you guys think of the Patreon this week. Lemaire and Nate just locked in on basketball talk, like very specific but I think you guys like that shit. It's just funny. It's just funny. They locked in on basketball talk, and I was just kind of like sitting there for like 20 minutes, just trying. You know what the problem was? It was we sat like Lemaire. It was Nate, Lemaire, me. And I think the way we all converse, it's better to have me in the middle for whenever they go off on stuff like that. Because they have a real problem with boxing me out sometimes. I can feel it. They can go off on a conversation and just like if they're real locked in on a fucking, because it's like they love to fuck, like we all love to fucking argue. And me and Lemaire will do that if we're on a fucking thing. The problem is I'll sit there politely. Nate will just scream and go, I'm not included. Or some shit like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm making Lemaire will do the same thing. Lemaire will just have a fucking hissy fit and just go like, this is boring. And then I'll just sit there and I'm like, less time, like less work for me, boys. You take the reins. This will just make them miss me more. But they were doing heavy. They were doing a heavy. God, it was funny too. Lemaire. I need to learn more about. I need to learn more about unions, because like with all my libertarian shit, they're like you're supposed to hate unions. And I got a lot of like, I don't know, I think I'm probably mixed because I have some family members in unions, but I've also like talked to them, and like unions do seem like for I haven't learned enough about unions to just be like, oh yeah, they're fucking stupid and we can't have them. Cause like, there's definitely a lot of things these big companies do to like fuck over the workers and shit, especially to the bigger your corporation gets. Like I was watching a thing about unions, and apparently, well, I don't know. Sometimes when you see some shit and they're like, this company did this, and like when they frame it like, oh, this company did this just to be a bunch of meanies and make a bunch of money, you're like, it's always a little bit more than that. It's never just like a lot of people try to just frame it as like they're just being big mean jerks. And it's like it's never just that. I think like I think a lot of times these companies, they will do meanie jerk stuff, but like it's not just to like get their rocks. Although even as I say that out loud, it's not never. You know what I mean? It's not never. They're definitely doing some shit to get their rocks off. Like I remember me and Pat were watching The Aviator, and the one company was doing some shit just to know that the dude, whatever the fuck Leonardo DiCaprio's character's name was, Alec Baldwin's character was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do all this fucking big business shit just to bitch you up, dude. So it's like there is that element of that. But no, apparently this is a wild thing where and it kind of goes back to a problem I've noticed with like just, the stock market, and how they just need to be up every quarter, and then how these huge companies have like shareholders and they just need to be up every quarter. And it's like apparently what my problem is? I have like little field mouse vibes sometimes, where it's like if I've done the research, I'll comprehend the evils of the world, but sometimes I take for granted the little evils of the world, and stuff like oh wait, no, it wasn't that video. It was like a random TikTok I found of talking about that's right. It was a random TikTok that I found talking about like Gen Z's attitude towards the workplace, and how it's like Gen Z is this attitude of like, back in the day it was work harder, I did this, look at all this extra work I did. Now you give me a raise. And then Gen Z's attitude apparently is much more, give me the raise and I'll show you what I can do. And a lot of people take that and they go like, oh, it's because they're entitled and shit like that. And again, similar with the whole like, oh, they just do, the big business does these things because they're just meanie pants. And like on the flip side, it's like, well, Gen Zers do this shit because they're just little lazy jerks. And you're like, it's never just like clean cut like that. There's always like underlying incentives and motives that are just naturally happening. And it's like the Gen Zers, they grew up in a time of like, shareholder value. It wasn't that shit where it's like you work for, I'm trying to remember what this dude said exactly, because it was kind of brilliant. It was presented in a really lame way on the TikTok, but it was kind of brilliant. And it was like some shit where back in the day you'd work for 40 years, get the gold watch, the company would show some appreciation. But now it's like these companies work to create shareholder value. And shareholder value doesn't always correlate with, what do the workers want and what does the customer want? And when shareholders are just like, well, I got to make money every quarter, companies are just going to do mass layoffs just because. So it's like you have these kids growing up whose parents, they're not shitheads or nothing. They're just getting fired so a bunch of rich people with, a bunch of shareholders can, make their nut for that quarter. And then they start like, so then they get like, that's again why like the boomers need to fucking, I talk about this a lot of the time where it's like the boomers need to fucking get outside of themselves and realize, that was the way things were for you guys. And honestly, you guys had a little bit of a Truman Show going on, because it's like, where boomer, they'll be like, oh, I bought my house for 5 cents. It's now it's worth $3 trillion. They'll be getting on that shit and thinking they did that themselves. It's like, no, you just got lucky through some downstream bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And, so it's like, they need to get out of that mindset. And so when you start looking at it that way, where, especially too, think of people my age, because I'm technically millennial, so even Gen Zers younger than me, it's like they grew up in, they probably grew up with some of their parents going through the '08 financial crisis, where they're getting fired because these banks and these companies were doing all this risky bullshit. And then what did they learn from that? Oh, we'll just bail you out, but then normal hardworking people will just get fucked. So they've just been like, through our government being a bunch of cunts, giving bad people bailouts and just telling good people to go fuck themselves. They've learned this thing of like, oh, it doesn't matter. And again, all this too goes to like the current mindset of people. Why it's like, you shouldn't be a certain type of way. You know what I mean? It's like I've always joked about this when you see, because like people always cry where it's like, black people are actually more racist. And I got to be honest, there's times where it's like, I believe that and I agree with that, because it's like, because if you hear the way the average black people talks about like white people versus the average in like casual conversation, how the average black person talks about white people versus how the average white person talks about black people, you can make the argument that they're more racist. But then at the same time, when you just kind of then think about the average black person's experience, and I'm not even saying the average black person right now has some like, because I know a lot of people try to frame it where it'll be like some fucking Jim Crow ass, remember the Titans ass experience. But even like the best case scenario, like I always joke, like best case scenario for a black person in America right now, you're still growing up, and at some point in elementary school, your teacher let you know that the white kid you've been friends with, if this was hundreds of years ago, he could buy you. You know what I mean? And then you learn the history of how the government's been fucking over, and just all this shit. So it's when it's like, I always joke, it's like, yeah, you guys shouldn't be racist, but if you are, I get it. Just don't. That's why I've changed my opinions. I'm like, just don't do it in front of me. Like, I completely get why. I just don't. That's how everyone should be, by the way, with racial stuff. Just be polite in front of everyone. Go do your shit in your house or in your car or wherever. No one's gonna fucking hear you until the government taps your shit and records it. But it's like, just be polite in front of me, dude, please. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's the same concept of like, yeah, you should think a certain type of way for success and blah, blah, blah. But if you grow up and you start seeing all these, like, you start seeing all it, because at the end of the day, thinking the positive way is still the right way to go. And thinking the like positive, hardworking way is still the right way to go. But if you have all these kids who just grow up and they're like, they just get shown example after example after example. Like, no matter how hard you work, something random will come along and just fuck. And then you frame that in like, and then when you like the Gen Xers or Gen Zers now, and they have like a fuck you, pay me mentality, you're like, I completely understand where that's coming from. You know what I mean? And I forget exactly how I got off on that tear. If anyone could help me. Oh, I was talking about unions. That's right. Thank you, Dunbar. I was talking about unions. So, yeah. So, like, I know a lot of like my libertarian guys will shit on unions, but at the same time, I've definitely seen like a lot of these companies are. So it's like, I think the point I was trying to I got way off the main point. I apologize on that. I was just trying to tell you about this great TikTok, guys. It was a great TikTok, guys. You really needed to see it. Everyone, give me your number. I'll text you the TikTok. No, but my thing about that's right. I was talking to Lemaire, and then he said something about basketball unions. It's funny. I try to have these conversations, but he gets a little defensive, and I just go like, you know what? Shit. I talk too much about that kind of stuff on here. I should stop doing that. No, I was just gonna say he gets I wish Lemaire didn't live out as much. He gets like paranoid when I ask certain things, and I can see him go into like debate mode. And I go, no, it's still your friend Andy. It's still your friend Andy. You can trust me. I'm not about, and also it doesn't matter. Everyone thinks we're all retarded. It doesn't matter who pwns who in this debate. Because you know what it is? I wish people, I think I need to work on being less of a nasty fucker, because I think I have nasty fucker tendencies. We all do. Because I was trying to pick Lemaire's brain about his thought process on the union stuff, and then I could see him getting his guard up, because he responded in a way that was like confront. He responded in a way responding to talking points and not things I said. So I was like, no, I genuinely want to pick your brain on this, because I want to know, because I'm not well versed in the union shit. Because my perspective on the union shit is like, I completely understand the impulse of unions. It's like it's the company's own damn fault that they have unions. But like, my thing, this is what I do know, because like everyone argues about unions, where they'll be like, everyone loves to argue about unions and be like, well, if it wasn't for the union, you wouldn't have the weekend, or you wouldn't get rid. And it's like, and then I see it's like all these things. It's like the weekend, child labor, blah 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 blah. And I've seen interesting arguments with that, with like the child labor. I'm gonna let that go to. I've been getting a lot of random calls recently. I don't like it. No, people will reference like the child labor stuff with unions, which again, it's like I talked about this shit with like the like people are very binary. They don't look at the like natural progression of time, and it's like the child labor was a result of just people not having enough, you know? It's like, it's not, from what people I've read smarter people say is like economic development is more attributed to what would get rid of child labor. So when people want to get rid of these, or like people shit on unions, they always have that what's like, before unions there was child labor. It's like, it's similar to that Ron Paul thing where people talk about how bad the drug laws are. So if someone hears you go like, I want to get rid of drug laws, so it's like, oh, so you're for doing heroin. And it's like, no, just because. And then like Ron Paul has that great clip where he was like, if we made heroin legal right now, who in this room would do heroin? You know, and people just, and like no one in the room cheered, because it's like, yeah, obviously. It's like, it's not the law. That's the thing, people, dude. There's something about, and I've learned this through just being a libertarian and arguing with people. There's something about being a libertarian that is so fucking annoying to people. I don't know. I have a skewed perception of it, because I'm like, oh, well, all this stuff is right. Why wouldn't people just want to do the right, like what's right? Why wouldn't people just want to do what's right? And sorry, I'm typing out unions so I don't forget to go back to the thing. Basically, my union point was just like, from what I've gathered about unions, like I remember when the dock workers or whatever in fucking New Jersey like a year or two ago, it was like they were acting like mobsters. The guy was like, "You don't want to give us what we want. You see what's gonna happen. Forget about it." And you're like, "You guys are the same. It's the same but different." So that's my thing. And then it's like every documentary, every fucking TV show. I'm sounding like a union man. Every fucking TV show or movie you see about mobsters, what's one element? Oh, they take advantage of the union. And it's like, how did Vegas get started? Didn't they use like a shitload of union money from like New York or some shit? So it's like, and I'm not blaming the union workers for that, but I'm saying is like everyone talks big game on the union shit, but it's like from what I've gathered, unions are just as bad as the people they're mad at. It's like when you see people who are why did I say that? It's like when you see people who are super mad about racism, they'll be like super mad about racism, and then the shit they're saying is on par with the most evil white supremacist you'll ever see. And it's like you're just the opposite. So that's my view on the union shit. Is a lot of the union shit just comes off as the equal opposite of the shit they're mad about. Oh, and then the point on, and this is why it's like I wish people just weren't so fucking defensive and shit. Because so Lemaire, they're talking about basketball forever, and then Lemaire just goes like they need a basketball union, and I was just like trying to be like, because like I try to. Don't get me wrong. I have my times where I sit and I go, I'm the smartest person in the fucking world because I have the fucking thing in me where I'm not a liar. So I have a clear I have a much more honest way of analyzing information because I'm unfortunately not a liar. You know what I mean? So I can like have a clear analyzation of information. I'm not smarter than anyone else. It's just when you don't have these like intellectual checkpoints before information gets to you, you process it much cleaner. So it's like we're all doing coke. Mine's just the cleanest cut. Mine's the purest cocaine. You know what I mean? That's just what's going on. We're all doing coke the same way. I just have pure cocaine. But no, it's like I'm not fucking smarter than it. So I approach things. If I hear someone saying something that's completely foreign to me, I go, "Why are you saying that?" I go, "What? And a lot of people don't approach that shit. They hear what you're saying when it's completely foreign to them, and they approach that as just like, well, we got to burn that witch. And Lemaire's going on about why they need a basketball union. And I'm just like, wait, aren't unions because people are getting underpaid? I'm like, everyone in basketball is rich as fuck. But I think, and I'm assuming this because Lemaire has a bunch of like lefty views, like liberal views. I'm guessing it's that like percentage thing. I'm guessing it's that like percentage wise thing where they go and they like the person at the top's making this much and the person at the bottom. So it's like percentage wise, it could be crazy, but I also don't know if that's like a good barometer. Now, I'm not saying it's like, I've talked about it before because I don't know if people owning basketball teams are necessarily billionaires, but they're definitely like 100 millionaires. And I'm sure some are hitting billion. Yeah. Yeah, you'd be a billionaire if you own a basketball team. What am I saying? Right? Let me double check. Comment down below. People who own basketball teams are billionaires, right? Libertarians are just emo. Yeah. Oh, so they do have a union? See, that's the thing. I don't know anything. You don't want that. You don't want this at all. I never knew I needed a long form debate between Andy and Lemaire, but now I really need to see that two absolute midwit. Jesus Christ. All right. Why are you being a cunt? Why are you being a cunt? Two absolute midwits. I mean, you don't have to be here, dude. You're gonna talk nasty like that? You don't have to fucking be here. Also, get the fuck out of here with that midwit bullshit. Just because I sound retarded doesn't mean I am. Get fucked, you little cunt. This is like the cunty. I would kill myself if I commented like this. Yema, I appreciate you being here, but this is the cuntiest, most feminine thing I've ever fucking seen. Two absolute midwits battling it out, getting distracted due to attention span the size of a mug. Yeah, go listen to fucking Mark Maron, you fucking Frieza. Hey, I'm a midwit too. Oh, so you probably know being an absolute cunt to someone is annoying. Hey, I love watching your stream. I love listening to the podcast. Anyway, I'm going to be a huge fucking cunt. God, go watch fucking Mark Maron and his pussy ass. Get the fuck out of here. Suck my dick with that midwit shit. Please don't be mean to Yema. Please don't be mean to Yema. No, I will be mean to Yema because Yema's a huge cunt. He's English. He's English. He's got to be snarky little chap sometimes. Well, that's on par with fucking literal girl excuses. I'm just being real. Oh, I'm not a huge here's a word you might know, Yema. Twat. I'm not a huge twat. I'm just English. No, you're probably terrible at parties. Good. I hope you feel bad about this. That's my goal. I hope the things I said made you feel worse than you did previously. Yeah. The English, the British, we're the best at being cunts. Oh, so useless. Like a lot of your, like a lot of things about you. Anyway. It was nasty. It was absolutely nasty. Ugh. You think I get call him a bell end? Oh yeah, you're a knob. You're a bell end. But yeah, that was my thing about this is why I had the fucking Mark Maron is a femi cunt. Mark Maron is also very funny. He's still funny. He's just it's like I was watching a bunch of videos about I was just curious about everyone's opinions on the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so I was watching a bunch of videos on that. It's hilarious how much this is just not that everyone already fucked with Shane immensely, but this whole thing is just making Shane look like more of the dog, which is just so sick. Anyway, it's a sign. It's a sign of endearment. Wait, being called a knob? Are you being endeared? Because I was like, because there's that thing that people do where it's like, oh, you know how I'm a fucking a nuisance and a fucking dickhead 24/7? It's because I like you. You're like, well, can you be nice sometimes? No, oh my god. I gotta go do physical activity. I'm a big fat mess. Anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, before I got mad at that comment. Yeah, Tim Dillon got fired. I think the festival's over already. Oh, but I was watching a lot of that Riyadh Comedy Festival shit just out of curiosity to be mean. Why would anyone be mean to Andy? You guys can be mean. You guys can bust balls. It's very funny to there's a thing that podcast fans do all the time that makes me laugh because they're self-snitching. They're like, oh my god, you got they'll be like ABC is it's the it's kind of part of the thing I had a problem with the Elephant Graveyard stuff where it was he was going through and it's not that anyone's above criticism. because I've said it before. I appreciate criticism. Sometimes I get criticism that I look into and I go like, they are actually fucking right about that. But then there's other criticism. So like when Elephant Graveyard, even in not even just like the Austin one, but for obvious reasons, that one kind of hit a little bit different. But I like a lot of his shit. But the one thing that does irk me is like, through those docs, he's showing that he's a huge fan of this shit, or he like is obsessive about it and he watches it all the time. So it is this funny thing of like all that constant like shitting on it is like revealing of how much of a fan you actually are. That's what I was starting to realize where watching his Austin one, I was like, wait, oh, it hit me. I was like, oh, you're a huge fan of Rogan and Tony. Like, that's how you know all this shit about them. You're a huge fan of them and you're a huge fan of all this shit. And then it's like, then to shit on at this level, it's this weird abstract thing of like, are you then, is this like a self-hatred thing? Because then I'm just asking questions. You guys know this about me. I'm just asking questions. It's and I don't hate on Elephant Graveyard. Yeah, you say he's a pretentious fuck. I don't hate on Elephant Graveyard. It does, but after watching it, I started to think, I go, I'm not trying to overanalyze it, but through those docs, it shows this like plethora of knowledge about the thing, which would make me think you're a fan to a degree. Now, I will be fair. There's a lot of things that I'm not a fan of that I know a lot about because I get obsessive over things that suck ass. So in turn, it's like I'm not a fan, but I'm like a bizarro fan. I'm like a fan for the opposite reasons and shit like that. And then but yeah, it is this weird thing where it's like it does make you wonder. It's like, are you actually a fan, but you love and that's why I identify with podcast fans so much. It's like, is it because you love the pain? Is that why? It's just this interesting thing. It's just this interesting thing where it's like, yo, this shit fucking sucks ass. Also, I have the ability to turn it off easily. So that's why yeah. I got sound. He hates watching. Oh, is there sound back? Petty behavior. I understand his points, but making a 1-hour video about something you hate is just stupid. Well, that was kind of like my point too, where I started noticing a lot of these podcast channels. Like that's why I like Joke World. Also, I met him recently. He's a really cool dude. He came to the Creek for Optimum Noctis one night. Really cool dude. But no, I like a lot of because I used to watch a lot of these channels as a guilty pleasure. I used to watch a lot of these channels as like a guilty pleasure. And then like now, especially too when they talk about Austin, DeRosa had a really let me bring this up. DeRosa had a really good clip on Joke World of all places. Is this from owning a sandwich shop? No, maybe he had it as a clip. Oh, is this Clip World? Excuse me. I apologize. I just DeRosa. Jesus Christ, he's got like 50 clips of fucking. He's got like 50 clips of fucking. Is this it? I literally never promised to go. Guest spots, no specials, closing ceremonies. Shit. This is very entertaining, guys. AD? Who's AD? Oh. My dog just finished a pup. A lady ran out and said she'd calling the cops. What does that mean? Yeah. I mean, I will say this. Keeping it a buck, Joke World does glaze a little bit. He does glaze a little bit, but like the thing I like about Joke World is he's the only fucking guy saying things he likes. You know what I mean? Like, damn, how many clips does he post? Like that. So that was gonna be the point of like all those. Before I got a little bit sidetracked, all those other channels I used to like. They'd be my guilty pleasure. They'd be my guilty pleasure. I'd watch them because they would. Brother, where's the god? It was such a good fucking clip. No. Give it to me, Joke World. Is this it? No. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Pause that. What? Why are you showing me? Oh, god damn it. I click on a Joe DeRosa clip I want, and it tells me to go to, gives me a Rob Barbosa. Which I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying that's not the clip I wanted. Guys, this will be worth it. All this bullshit will be worth it. All of this bullshit. Yeah. Because it's just the way. Why does this keep happening? Why are you doing this to me? What the fuck? Why do you click on a video and it doesn't go to it? What world are we living in right now? I see the clip right there. You know what I'll do? I'll click on the fucking link and then I'll just go to a different page. God damn it. No one can stop me. Why is it doing this to me? Here we go. Open. There we go. Open a new tab. Look at me. Look at me shining. Here we go. Look at me. Look at me shining. Big dog. Big red shining. Okay. So what was the fuck? Okay. Is my coffee heated up again? No. It's not hot. Joke World will be nothing without the King flu lockdowns. Is that true? Control your animal midwit. Yeah, that was the funniest part. It's like, brother, you're calling me you watch my stream for 4 hours. That's my favorite thing when people who are like, hey, I watch your, people who watch your shit are retarded. Also, I watch your shit. Anyway, I love you, buddy. Just anyway. Well, we're all friends here. Sometimes you clown on your friends. We're all bros. Anyway. So what was I saying? The thing I was saying before. I got off a few weeks ago. There was a cat in my driveway. Interesting. I got off topic. Oh yeah. So like, yeah, my two things with a lot of these dudes who make these videos is like, one, it's like, obviously shit needs to be criticized because that's how, I do that with music and shit like that, but I also try to sit here and promote good shit. You know what I mean? And then when I'm on this, like, that's me with my conspiracy shit. It's just me being the biggest critic. Yeah. It you can climb on me. You can climb on this midwit and get some of this mid clit. Anyway, I have a pussy now, guys. That's the joke. No, so yeah, let me get the chat out of here so I can focus. There we go. Get the fuck out of here. No, but my thing is that, you know, it's one thing to have a channel where you criticize shit. It's another thing when you do these like elaborate, and one of my buddies pointed out too with Elephant Graveyard, he clearly wants to have that like cool Adam Curtis style. And that's the other part about a lot of these channels is like they criticize comedy, and when they express themselves and when they try to express their comedic abilities, you're like, you know, I'm not saying I'm the most hilarious guy all the time on the internet, but when I'm trying to be funny, I think I'm funny more often than I'm not. But so it'll be like when they express themselves, because I watched the Elephant Graveyard thing. It's like when you express himself, it's like you kind of also trying to go for like cool. I don't know what the words would be, like esoteric or whatever the fuck, or cool or abstract, or having this like meta thing. So like, you know, you're kind of, well, because I remember watching it, and like I think we watched it on here, and the one thing I was thinking while watching it, I was like, if he's dead serious, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on, you know, because it's like you can't call people gay while being gay. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the way he's going about it, it's like, well, you're in the mud with everyone else. You know, it's like, what are you trying to say? You're the least gay? And then it gets to a certain, and then, but if he's not, it's the funniest thing fucking ever. That's the, like, I hope the Alpha Graveyard shit's ironic and not just like a very serious breakdown. Like, I hope he's just trolling all of us, because if he's just trolling all of us, it's the funniest shit in the world. But then the other part is, once it starts to go to like an hour and a half, and like I watched a bunch of it, and you watch it and you're like, this guy knows so much. This guy knows so, and like some of the shit he talks about, I like it more than perceivably he likes it. And he knows way more about it than I do. Like, and he's in the weeds about it, you know. And it's one thing, like, you know, like going back to like me talking about the conspiracies and shit. I don't like that they happened, but I enjoy trying to figure them out. So there is an element of it I like. So that part is fair. Maybe the idea of like digging deep into it and, oh, I'm going to fucking take these dudes down, maybe that's fun. But to me, if your whole thing is like, this shit sucks, and then once you start getting to the like hour and a half mark of your very well done documentary, I start to believe you less, that you actually don't like this shit. But I start believing now someone hurt you. Something hurt you. And now you're like, it now becomes a little bit of like there's still love, but there's some attack going on with you. That's what I start to think. So there's that. It's like the length of it in and of itself just relays to me that you're actually a huge fan. And there's just something, something hurts inside. You Johnny Cash, or not Johnny Cash. You're was that a cover he did of 9 Inch Nails? I hurt myself. Wasn't Hurt a cover? Hurt Johnny Cash. It was a cover song, right? Yeah, it was a 9 Inch Nails cover song. So yeah, it starts being like that. And then the other thing that's getting me about, well, actually there's three things. One, the fact that you guys are spending so much time on these people you hate makes me think you're fans, or, you know, it's like, and I'm trying to say this without being antagonistic, because I don't need docs. There's too much embarrassing footage of me on the internet. I don't need why Andy's a big gay fucking retard docs. Although it would help my status, and then I could do reactions being like, that's so funny, and then like just go off screen and just go off screen, start crying. So that'll probably help me out. I'll do that. If they make the docs about me, I'll watch them and be like, oh my God, I am such a fucking piece of shit. I am a midwit. That's just a callback to earlier because of my fast comedic mind. But yeah, so there's that, and then there's what was the other things I was saying? Fuck, there were two more. Because there was it's when everyone talks about Austin. Oh yeah. So like then I started watching a bunch of these, and you go through all their videos. If you go through all their videos, you start looking and like all it is just like you know, pick a comic, Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura, Andrew Schultz, whoever. They're like, the walls are closing in. And then you see their Instagram and they're just doing stadiums or arenas or whatever the fuck, like gigantic theaters, things like that. You're like, I don't know. It's just funny that there's just this whole industry of dudes on the internet that just hate these people and they're in their own ecosystem, but it doesn't seem to, like, that's the thing I think a lot of comedians should realize about the comedy drama channels is like it doesn't seem to affect real life shit at all. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to affect like ticket sales for the most part. Because it seems like the actual fans of comedy, and this isn't a dig, but well, I don't know actually. Because you know what, because I'm thinking about it now. I have all you guys in the chat, so you guys definitely are very active fans and shit like that. But you're all, you know, I assume all you guys, you know, contribute to the shit. Hopefully, you know what I mean. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys in here on the Patreon. I know a bunch of you guys in the Twitch literally give me money every month through your Twitch sub. So it's like you guys participate and you're active on the internet. But there's this, it's like, so you guys are in the middle right here. You guys are right here in the middle, right here, right in big red. You like there's like a Venn diagram where it's like you guys are in the middle where you're active on the internet and you spend money on podcasts. And then on the outside of the Venn diagram, there's people who spend a lot of money on comedy and stuff who don't pay attention to any of the internet shit. Then there's a lot of people who only pay attention to the internet shit and then and then spend money on the podcast. And that's the group that I'm always just like they always come off as like the pest where it's like shout out O and A. Honestly, Andy, I'd rather catch the stream than watch PITM. Well, you should do both, sir, because I think both are fantastic. See, and that's why I know you're a fan, and that's why I don't take it personally. And I know you're just acting out, and we should just fucking get these petty differences aside and make love, dude. You still should watch the show. The show's fucking great. I mean, well, streaming and you should watch both for different reasons. Streaming's a whole different thing than the podcast we do. And if you're trying to laugh, like I'm not even trying to talk shit. If you're trying to laugh, like, why are you not listening to Panties in the Mouth? You know what I mean? I'm just like, that's the most frustrating part. Like, I'm not trying to be pretentious. It's just, you know, I'm not trying to be pretentious, but like, it's just like, how funny do you have to be? You know, I'm just saying if the three funniest dudes in the world can't, you know, just blow the fuck up immediately for just being the three cutest and funniest dudes in the goddamn world, what kind of world do we live in? I don't know. I try not to talk too much shit about stuff like that, but it does get frustrating. You're like, I mean, how funny do we have to be? Maybe it's just in our own heads, but I think we're pretty fucking funny. Maybe people are just scared of the name. I really don't. That's if I could say anything about me, if I ever come on, it's weird. I'm like, there's times where I'm like unnecessarily humble, And there's times where I am obnoxiously pretentious. I don't have a lot of middle ground. It's weird. I don't know what that is. It's definitely hurt me in my life. It's why, dude, it's why it's like we need to go back. Because this is what's annoying me about comedy fans. And this is what I think you guys appreciate characters. That's what I always loved about comedy. It's like this fucking, it's post 2020, it's post 2016 when when they start realizing Trump's going to win, or not post 2016. So that would be 2015. It's like when they started realizing Trump was going to win. And then after that, it's just been so much gayer where it's just, they're always like interjecting, like and you see it with everyone. It's not just the fucking libs. The fucking Repubs are getting gay too. But it's like everyone just associates, well, you have to have the right opinion on things. It's like, no, you don't. Just give me, especially in like, that's the other thing. Like I said about Lemaire, everyone gives Lemaire shit because he has quote unquote bad takes, to the point where like, I remember Lemaire was talking about the Trump's fucking, tariff shit. He was talking about like the tariff shit. And then someone in the Discord just wrote like a fucking 5-paragraph essay. Dude, like literally like 3 giant paragraphs about like, this is why. It's like, are you having a intellectual debate on tariffs with fucking Lemaire? It's like, dude, I remember listening to O&A and listening to YKWD and listening to Skanks and all that shit back in the day. And I would just be like, yo, give me these great characters. You know, and then it's like the people watch the fucking podcast and we're all these like outrageous, big, dumb, retarded characters. And then people give a shit for that. It's like, we're not here. Like, don't get me wrong. I want to like, there is a part of me that's unfortunately passionate about the conspiracy stuff and some political stuff. And it's like, there is part of me that would like to be taken seriously in the context of like, oh, if we're going to have a discussion about that. But it's like, my main drive is to just be like a funny fucking retarded dude on the internet. And, you know, you see these fucking videos, like going back to the Bert Kreischer thing, like when I was talking about, so going back to these fucking breakdown videos, I started to realize like, what do you guys fucking want from comedians? Because in one breath, they'll shit on Rogan for saying the modern day philosopher thing. But then in another breath, they'll be like, well, look at what, look at what Bert Kreischer is factually inaccurate about this statement. And it's like, oh, look, he's doing the thing he's always done since the dawn of time. It's the thing that got him popular and got him entertaining and like got people entertained by him and shit like that. Now that he's famous, it's annoying and a bad attribute. And it's like, they do this weird thing for comedians where they build them up off of the basis of them being insane. And then after a certain point, they're like, can you believe they're insane? And it's like, I don't know. I just wish people wanted, there's just way too much. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of, like, there's some comedians that are real good at it. Like Dave Smith, obviously. I love bigging up Dave. Like Dave Smith, Robbie Bernstein, Rogan, they all come off as, you know, smart dudes. So it's like when they're talking about when they're not being funny, it's like they're dudes worth being taken seriously. There's a lot of comics worth being taken seriously, but there's also a lot of comics where it's like, you know, it's that weird bullshit when it started with fucking Daniel Tosh. It's that weird bullshit with Daniel Tosh when, you know, he made that rape joke and then everyone started treating him on par with like it was like back then they were treating comedians more strictly than they would treat like a senator on like the shit he says. And it's just confusing as a comic when you like, it's just confusing as a comic when you spend all this time being a clown and trying to think of funny things to say. And then you say funny things and you've very clearly established yourself as a clown. Because, like, don't get me wrong, there is a multiverse version of me where I'd love to be an intellectual and taken seriously and blah 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 blah. And it's like, dude, I'll take I'll take Andy, the funny guy who knows a couple things about conspiracies or knows a couple things over like, Andy, he really knew a lot about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. He was a very, it's like, and I'm not saying it's bad if that's your thing. I'm just saying for me, it's like, you know what it is? It's just like I live in funny and all that other stuff just comes natural with living in life where you hear people discussing issues. And I'm unfortunately a curious person. I just go, that doesn't sound right. So I learn, but yeah, it's like, I guess my main point is like, I would just rather people be like, why do you, I don't know. It's like, there's this weird double standard with how people consume comedy content. It's just like there's this fun thing where it's like if you're gonna make a long breakdown video of what a fucking comedian who's a fucking psychopathic drug addict, fucking drunk who just stays out all night because he's a comedian, you're gonna be like, can you believe he had a bad opinion? Can you believe this stand-up comedian has a bad opinion? You're like, yes. And it's like it's one thing when you see that from like regular people. It's another thing when you see self-proclaimed like smart marks of the comedy world. They also like when they don't get it, I'm like fucking, and that makes our job as comics way tougher where it's like, so like the hardcore fans don't even fucking get it. And I'm not saying you guys, that's why it's like this like Legion of Skanks, Matt and Shane ecosystem that we very fortunately live in. I gotta tell you, dude, whenever I do those fucking, whenever I hop on Nate and Lemaire and Sean's show, I really wanted that pause just to let you guys know there's hopping on in context of Nate. Multi-told, what's up, brother? But no, for real, whenever I get booked or they need some help because one of them are out of town on Optimum Noctis, they're like my favorite shows to fucking do because I know it's the vast majority of the crowd is Matt and Shane people. And, this audience member who's been cultivated over the years of like, there's O&A and then YKWD weeded out a lot of the pests and stuff. And then we have Skanks and then now Matt and Shane and all these other iterations that this ecosystem we've all helped gather together this great fan. Those people fucking rule. Optimum Noctis is one of the most fun shows to fucking do, like ever, to be honest. Just because of who comes. You know what I mean? Always as a comic, you should always be going up in front of different audiences and shit like that, but never take for granted the dope ass audiences. But what am I trying? It's when though there's this like block and there's this like chunk of comedy fans out there that like, I don't know, they're mad about, I don't know what it is, but they're mad about something. Cause it's like you watch them and you go, you're clearly a huge fan of this, but you also clearly hate it. And it's like, I don't know what that is. Big Red trench warfare expert. Yes. Podcasts were like Cool Pirate Radio. Now they're boner pill commercials hosted by billionaires. Well, I mean, I don't mind the commercial. Everyone gets mad about the commercials. Skip through them. People got to make their money. But I grew up listening to fucking O&A and then YKWD and then Skanks, and it was just you could say whatever you fucking wanted, and people didn't take you that fucking seriously. It's like people, that's what's wrong with our fucking world. People look at as comedians as like they're supposed to be. Well, it's because too, also all that woke shit came up, and there was a bunch of comics who weren't fucking funny who tried to trick people into being like, where the, it's the same retards that think comedy is supposed to punch up. No, comedy's not supposed to target anyone specifically. You just, when you write a joke, you notice things that are out of you notice things that are absurd or out of the ordinary, or you just naturally have a contrarian opinion about things because that's funny. It's just naturally funny to be a contrarian sometimes. So you do that, but it doesn't, nothing about being a comic means you're able to then process the information properly to create a solid critique of anything. Like, a lot of comics are fucking stupid. We got to stop acting like just sitting around in your head thinking about stuff doesn't necessarily mean you're smarter than anyone else. Because most comics you talk to are no smarter than anyone else. They just, you know how, like, if you're a carpenter, you spend your day cutting wood and, you know, putting tables together and shit, and or more impressive things. I'm not shitting on carpenters. I love the smell of freshly cut wood. Slight pause. But it's like, you know, you spend all your time cutting wood and building shit. That's why you're better at that than I am. I spend all my time thinking about things and then relaying them verbally into a comedic and or interesting way. That's why I'm way better at. That's why I can fucking log on to here and talk for 2 hours every day and it not be a fucking thing. Like, I can do that just so fucking easily. It's not that I'm not smarter than anyone else. I'm not, obviously no one's in here going like Andy is way smarter. I know no one's sitting there doing that, but no, it's why it's like, but I'm not smarter than anyone else. This is the thing I do all the fucking time. So that's why I'm better at this than you guys. It doesn't make me better than anyone else. Although when the stream's over, I will sit on my couch going, I'm so much fucking better than everyone else. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just let comics be clowns, man. And if one makes a good point, then start taking them seriously. But people, I don't know. Are you a carpenter? That's so funny. Yes, I am talking directly to you. Why is it not showing it? It sucks when listening while working and you're doing something too busy. You can't take your phone out and skip through the ads. You can just wait a minute. You work that muscle more than the average person. Yeah. Hey, yo, this motherfucker, Andy, a genius. Thank you, Lou. All I want is just the average person to think of me way, way more highly than anyone else. Is that too much to ask? Slav had a funny comment earlier. I don't want to. I was looking through the Twitch chat. You can't tell Elephant Graveyard is being ironic. It's 50-50. I don't, because that's the thing. It's like, you can say it's all being ironic, but there gets to a certain point and where it's like, you know, you're almost using the irony as a smokescreen. So it's like he is being ironic, but is he? You know, it becomes sort of like a bait and switch on the whole irony aspect. So it's like he is, but it gets to a point where you go, are you still being ironic? Matt and Shane is the rare pod that actually has funny ads. Yeah. I don't listen to them as much, but I'll catch an ep depending on their guest. And yes, their ads are fun to listen to. I'm tuning in because Andy is on the thin line between genius and complete mental implosion right now. Yeah, like that. Well, that's the other thing. It's like, this is why I'm trying to work on my demeanor. Well, I don't know. I feel like if I become more level-headed, I won't be as entertaining. It won't be as entertaining. But that's why I'm trying to, like, it goes back to my fucking point. It's like, I make good points all the fucking time. But when I do, people literally look at me. They're like, I said it before. It's like a fucking dog driving a car. And you're like, there's no way. But it's like, you see it right in front of you. You're like, there's no way he's driving that car like that. Yes, people always get shocked when I make. Oh, so I'm glad I kept this video up. The last thing I was going to say about about those videos that annoy. So all the things I said previously, and then the other thing that annoys those is every time, like the part that's the most annoying. Copious amounts of Alpha Brain and Spurg out next stream. That might have to happen. He's like a rock and roll star that just can't quit the drugs because he won't be able to play as good. Yeah, I just gotta keep doing the H, dude. Oh yeah, so I said all the stuff previously, and then the other thing that is also just getting, it's like, and I'm not saying this as someone who I was not Austin's the Mecca, yada yada yada, stuff like that. I'm not saying that kind of shit. But I have plenty to complain about Austin. So it's not going to be like an Austin stroke fest or anything like that. It's just a lot of people, when criticizing Austin, they'll start describing something and you're like, that place sounds interesting. Where is that? Where's that place located? I am very curious where that place you're talking about is located. Is the stream shitty for you guys? Dunbar and Moldy Toad are having a problem with the stream. Seems to have smoothed out. All right, good. Okay, good. Okay, so that's like my thing. And this is the video I wanted to play earlier. DeRosa says it in the most perfect way, where it's like all these people just, they'll tell you about this world of Austin, and you're like, is that our Austin? That sounds like a different place. Don't put the pussy on a pedestal. God damn it.
Specifically,
What?
I think New York and LA like to kind of shit on
What the fuck?
New York and now Austin. What are your honest thoughts?
Why is that happening? Why would this be a thing that could happen to me in this?
Austin a little bit. Is that just comics yapping, or is there like what's going on?
I have a lot of thoughts. I don't understand what the big deal is. Austin is an amazing scene. There's sort of two narratives going on here. The media narrative is this insistence that everybody in Austin is an anti-woke manosphere comedian who's not allowed to do anything unless we are told by Joe Rogan we are allowed to do so. It is so insane, this narrative they've created. Like, it's nuts. I work Joe's Club all the time. There are tons of liberal comics on stage.
Dude, it's also too, the political narrative is hilarious because it's like, it's like crazy how not political people are down here.
Talking about liberal things. It's a very diverse lineup every night. There is very little talk of like, you know, like there is.
It's actually funny. Like he's saying about the diverse lineup. He's talking about the dude. I've teased friends because like I've had friends booking shows who like, they go like, oh, we don't have a lady. We don't have, all we have is white guys and black guys. We don't have and it's like, guys, just book a good, like you actually have people worried about that shit. And it's like, you know what it is? It's like, yeah, do they let the Fs in? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not out enough, but I hear there's probably an open mic thing. The edgelord dude trying to squeeze in the N-word. I think that's more of an open mic thing, but do the Friezas fly a little more loosely? Yeah, but it's still, you know, it's like hilariously diverse down here. And you know, I'm not even a guy who like praises that shit. I'm not one of these liberals treating minorities like Pokemon where it's like, oh, gotta catch them all. We got one of each. And it's like, then they just worry about, you know, making sure they all think the same way as them. I'm way more of a fan of diversity of opinion. But if you're one of the woke people looking for each, you know, little Pokemon for your, you know, every minority Pokemon for your Pokedex, they're here.
There's no I don't know what the they're talking about.
Yeah.
That is so funny. As someone who lives here and goes to all these shows, they're always saying, "Oh, the N word," and I haven't seen anyone say that on stage one time. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I legit think the N-word stuff is like maybe at open mics, but I don't go to those, so I don't know. It's like I'm the same with, and Joke World probably goes to more shows than I do. I'm doing comedy and then hanging out, but Joke World probably sees. Maybe I should go see more comedy. It's actually making me go like, shit. Is that a true statement? I was like making it to make a good point. But yeah.
Crazy. It's so
insane.
crazy.
It's insane.
It's a club that is very supportive of be funny. And also, there's many other components to the Austin comedy scene. There's the Creek and Cave, Rebecca Trent, amazing person, one of my oldest friends. There's the Vulcan, awesome club, awesome comics. There's all these other, I don't mean disrespectfully to say satellite rooms, but there are all these other small rooms around. Roscoe's, which is great. There's Black Rabbit. There's
East Austin.
East Austin. Yeah, it's like, guys, like this is such an incredibly, and by the way, I won't name the venue, but I know of venues that have banned guys for not being liberal enough or PC enough, whatever the fuck you want.
Oh.
So the thing in the other direction has happened far more than what the narrative of the media is doing. There are many different perspectives and whatever, and it's all mixing together in Austin. I don't understand what the fuck anybody's talking about.
Yeah, and that's that's why I wanted to play the DeRosa clip, because the way he said it was so fucking is just spot on. Yeah, that is probably one of the more, and it's I was talking about it with Mark Maron earlier. It was like indicative of why the whole Mark Maron tirade, which just happens to coincide. Yeah, happens to coincide with his new special, you know. The one time we're all talking about him, he just happens to have a special coming out. Yeah, it's like, the fuck was I trying to say with that? My brain will just shut off because I have too many thoughts. I swear I'm fucking smart. I'm not a midwit. I'm so fucking smart. Nah, it just goes back to my it goes back to my point I always make. I go, just don't be mean to me. Like, I know I'm fucking stupid. Just stop being mean to me. I'm a good man. I deserve your politeness. Fuck. Oh yeah, it's like the Mark Maron shit where he's like bitching about Rogan and the Rogan sphere and all this other shit. And you're like, hey man, more important than anything, everything you're saying's not true. So like, let's start there. Everyone wants to analyze what he said, and it's like, dude, it's not true. None of it's true. Moral of the story, don't believe shit on the internet. Go see for yourself. Well, you can like, it's like, don't, you know, I don't want to be like a fucklin. I don't want to be like a fucking Douglas Murray talking to, I don't want to be, see, I can't play these games though, dude. Like, I don't think I'm a dumb guy, but I do dumb shit. I have my moments. Like, you know what it is? Like, I have moments where I'm fucking Will Ferrell. I have my moments where I'm Will Ferrell in Old School, where he just locks in. It's like, I have these moments, you know. So it's like, it's not just a simple answer of like, oh, I'm a dumb guy, because it's I think it's, you know, I think it's all the like ADHD and autism bullshit. I think I got a lot of ADHD. I think I got a sprinkling of the tism. You know what I mean? So it's like, that just makes me tart out. So it's like, if I call other people midwits, I'm playing a dangerous game. Like the one fucking, when Nate's being a nasty little gay bitch. I love him. I love you, Nate. I'm just fucking with you. But no, when Nate's being nasty and he wants to call me dumb and he gets so excited. This is why I think he's coming off as zesty, because he comes off as like an evil little gay guy. because it's not that he's making fun of me. It's the way he's made. It's he gets to a point on certain jokes. Start losing the joke, and it's just a nasty attack. It's a very, it's like he's earned the zesty allegations, man. That and all the gay sex he has, but like he gets nasty. He gets like a vicious little mean girl. That fat guy gets a little vicious. All my friends are like that. I'm the only man in the group. They're all little nasty mean girls. You know what I mean? Like you guys give me shit for spazzing. They give me shit for. I gotta hang out with women every day. But no, either way. But because Nate's such a nasty little mean girl, and he's got his little gay guy trickster tricks. He's talking about, oh, you're so dumb, Andy. You ate a bunch and threw up. It's like, oh, I didn't know having eating disorder was a intelligence thing. You're victim blaming right now. So you're a nasty bitch. Nate being zesty in the rickshaw was opening of the floodgates. Here's the problem with the zesty stuff. It's just I've known Nate for over a decade. I've known Nate longer than my wife, and I've made love to him more times than my wife. It's on the face of it, because like the zesty allegations aren't completely fair. Let's just keep it a buck. Like I saw the podcast where it was Shane was talking about his shorts. I saw the shorts. They weren't that bad. And men out there, let yourself live a little. Buy a 5-inch inseam and live a little. Dress like a slut. It's fun. When we got thighs like this guy over here, you got strong dude. It's so funny. I wear some shorts. Women look at me and they go, I mean, he's a big gross monster, but those calves, what are they doing to me right now? I get compliments on my calves. Like I got good legs. So like live a little, be free, let yourself enjoy the 5-inch inseam. It's a good life to live. So it's like, I saw the shorts. They weren't that zesty. They were good shorts. And also he doesn't want to be a smelly little guy. He's got to wear the shorts. And also too, I got to keep it honest. Like, we are kind of, he's worked hard. You know how much of his life he spent being a homophobic black guy? All of it. And now he's working hard. He's working hard to get in the mix on white guy goofing. And, he's getting punished for that. He's finally wanted to come into the fold and do some white guy goofing. Fega said no grown man should be wearing shorts in public. Well, Fega's a 70-year-old wigger, so take that for what it take everything he says with a grain of salt. But how much to lift your shirt slowly while one biting a Big Mac? I don't want to. No, you're not. You guys aren't paying me money to be a fat slob. I do that in my own private time. And then it's like I heard the one he got accosted for in LA. I was like, let the man joke. Let the man goof around. You're punishing him for having a fun time with friends. Adon doesn't wear shorts. Okay. Big Red does. I don't give a fuck about your titles. What's a Don? What's a Don to what's a goon to a goblin, dude? Who gives a shit? Call yourself whatever you want. I'm calling myself comfortable in my shorts. Anyway, what was I saying? That was a good pull. What's a goon to a goblet? Fega's a gay mid. Fega's not short. Fega's taller than me, I think. He's not a midget. Fega rules, by the way. Andy's gonna find himself. No, I have to figure out I have an eating disorder. I'm a grown. I know you're not supposed to have those as a man, but I've come to realize a legit like it's not like an anorexia. Obviously, it's not anorexia. Let me clarify. Just if anyone was wondering, I don't have anorexia. I didn't mean to say it like that. No, it's it's the opposite. It's whatever the eating, because it's something about, dude. I literally think, dude, it's the same reason why I like fucking love smoking cigarettes. It's just the act of just a fag to the face, guys. And that's a British cigarette. YouTube, watch yourself. No, it's like that. I need to get some. You know what it is? I just avoid these things because I'm trying to like not do all the like. It's like there's so many things that would help me that I just avoid because it feels like a fucking like little kid baby thing. Like if I could have something, because I've noticed it whenever if I get a soda, I find myself chewing on the straw a bunch, and I'll just kind of like chew on that and have that there and shit, and I'll find myself playing with it in my finger. I'm like, I'm like, literally the fidgeting thing is why I love smoking cigarettes so much, and also they rip when you're drinking. But yeah, but all that stuff just feels like baby stuff that I don't want to do because it'll make. But then it's like, do I do one baby thing so I don't do all this destructive shit forever? It's like I might want to pick up a baby thing. The opposite of anorexia is a wild statement. It's the life I live, dude. That's so funny. Let the greed and gluttony consume you. Dig in, pun intended. Yes. It's a Sopranos quote. I'm JK, but I don't wear them typically. Are you guys about to fuck? Lou and Anorexic are about to fuck. Over and under, how many hot dogs could you house? Are we talking big dogs, 7 inches and thick? Hey, yo. Yay, mom. More like gay, ma. Or the thin ones that come in a can. Come on, brother. What's the time frame? What's the dog? Because like, dude, if you give me time, because I can't do like eating competition, like eat a bunch of food really quick. That's not how I get fat. I get fat slowly over a day. I don't gorge myself that much. Sometimes. Okay, often. No. Realistically though, like I've been toning it down because if I overeat, if I overeat, it's usually in like small pockets before I actually feel hungry, and then I feel gross for the rest of the day. So I've been avoiding that more. But like my big fatness is from like if I go to a party, if I go to a party that we're there for 4 hours, I've had twice as many beers and twice as many snacks as everyone else at the party. It's not, you know what I mean? So, dude, if I go over to your house for a party, say that shit starts at, a dog every 8 minutes. So how many dogs is that? An hour. That's 7.5 dogs an hour. I could probably do that for the first hour. But dude, if you're just giving me, do you worry about the health impact of that? 100%. It's why I'm trying to work on it. I'm starting to get to an age where you can't just do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to get to an age where if I go to McDonald's and I get 2 double cheeseburgers and a large fry, like that used to just be fucking lunch. But if at 35, if I get 2 double cheeseburgers and a large fry, that changes the trajectory of my day. It's just, it's acceptance and changing new habits. And I got a thing with food I got to work on. I got a thing with food I got to work on where I have such a close, like, emotional attachment to it. So it's like, It's just I think about it in a fun context, you know? So, yeah, just cutting that out, I get like the anxiety. It's very embarrassing. A GLP-2, terzepatide. I don't know what that is. Oh, is that like a Ozempic thing? Terzepatide is a medication used primarily in type 2 diabetes management and weight loss. It functions as a glucose dependent. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't really want to get in on those. Speaking of food, I'm gonna make me a salad. Good call, brother. Yeah, I'm just trying to well, I noticed the thing for me is like a thing I want to try to start doing is like having healthy snacks throughout the day. So like when it's actually time to eat, because like I've joked about it before. I'll do this thing where I'll go to McDonald's and I'll get anxious and I'll order like way too much fucking food. So I'm thinking like a good strategy was like, well, rather than gorging, if I eat small amounts throughout the day, maybe that'd be a bet. Because you know what it is? It's like in my heart, I love gorging, dude. It's like I love overeating. It's so fun. So I gotta like that's the problem. I gotta break that. Don't take Ozempic. Yeah, I don't want to do Ozempies. Eventually you will get in on those. On what? It would shut off the food noise in your brain. Yeah, I don't know. I don't you know what it is? I don't trust the like long-term side effects on those. I feel like the verdict's not out on that. How much beer you drinking, Andy? Well, that is another thing. I used to be thin as a rake till I started drinking beer too much and I gained weight rapidly. Yeah. If I'm being honest, I'm not like getting drunk every night, but I'm probably Jesus fucking Christ. Dude, Instagram is these apps are so fucking annoying. I wish there was like a separate app. I wish there was a separate app where all the comics just agreed to message each other on. Cause like I turned my notifications off on Instagram. And like a couple times, one of my friends who booked shows, she like hit me up for a spot and I didn't notice it for like an hour or two. And because she, she's the type that, and this isn't shitting on her. It's just, she booked shows. She's got to get them booked up. She wants to get them booked up as quick as possible. So like if I miss her message after like an hour or two, she's already got someone else booked on that show. And I'm like, damn, I missed the spot. Could have made a couple bucks. And then yesterday, I see the booker for Sunset hits me up to do a show, and I missed it by an hour. But luckily, she saw my message and she's like, "Hell yeah!" So I'm gonna be on a show at Sunset, and I'm like, I can't. I got to be able to like. I don't want to leave people unread for like an hour or two. I want like a shit like that for shows. So it's like I turn notifications on. I turn notifications on for Instagram, and then immediately Instagram it's fucking crazy, man. I've been streaming for what, an hour and 38 minutes? And I like looked at my phone I saw an update, and 1 minute ago, you have 3 new likes on your reel. 46 minutes ago, you have 7 new likes on your reel. An hour ago, you have 67 new likes. I don't fucking care, man. My friend's making fun of me. Sorry, I got distracted because people are making fun of me. But yeah, these fucking and then I check my phone during stream and it's fucking bad and stupid and everything's bad. Everything's bad. The fuck was I talking about though? Oh yeah, the food stuff. Andy wants Truth Social for comics. No, I I just want to fucking if we could all just have like a fucking I forget what the apps are, but like Telegram or something. If just all comics could do like Telegram, it's just the way that these apps fucking harass you to be like, hey, fucking ruin your day real quick. All right, this is a little aggressive. So, when you are diagnosed as pre-diabetic, then you will do GLP. Okay, all right. Let's I guess we're gonna have zero faith in me. And also, I know you don't watch the stream a lot, so you don't know me that well. So you're just feels like you're just trying to be mean to a fat guy. And I gotta tell you, it's fucking working. No. Yeah. Anyway. Liberty Twitcher. You're kind of, you're saying you're into liberty, but you're kind of aggressing on me in a authoritarian way. Yeah, no. I'd rather. That's why I'm trying to get my shit together. Is like I'd rather approach it in a natural way. If you say you are over 300 pounds, you get a discount on Ozempics. Well, lucky me. Guess who doesn't have the line? Don't trust anything that tries to shut off shit in my brain. Yeah, I don't like. Yo, are you an Ozempic salesman? The aggressive nature of defending this shit is cracking me up. Yeah, well, you're being a little nasty and unfair because there's like it's clearly assumed that I'll just never get my shit together. And again, feels like you're new to the stream. I mean, unless you listen to the podcast, you're new to the stream, so I don't know how well you know me. So yeah, this feels like a weird attack, and I don't know why you're doing this to me. And like I said before, my one rule is don't be fucking mean to me. I don't deserve it. I'm a sweet boy. Yeah. What's the strangest gig you've ever done? Fun question. Your mom's pussy. No, I would never do that. What's the strangest gig I've done? I did a Juggalo rap show. It was half comedians. Well, it wasn't booked as a Juggalo rap show, but it was a lot of Juggalos were booked. So it was half comedians, half rappers. Like 70% of the rappers were Juggalos. And that's around the time I started to get immense respect for Juggalos. Their music's horrendous, but they're very supportive. And I really respect that. So yeah, I did do a Juggalo rap show. It's not like that one wasn't super strange. It was and it was actually surprisingly fun. It was a great environment to work on crowd work. Cause it was like, it was like a music vibe And a lot of people everyone was standing, like no one was seated. Comedy is not, stand-up's so weird. There's so many like specific things that make it better or worse, and they're not like obvious until you're in the middle of it. And like fucking something about stand-up's less funny when the crowd is standing. I'm standing. You got to sit. Let me think if there's anything else. Because I got to be honest, like I've avoided maybe I've avoided the like, oh, I did stand up on a bus. Because I'm just like, this is only going to go bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I should have paid my dues and cut my teeth more, but there's something about it where I was like, this is only going to go bad. But I guess, you know, it's not the ideal place, but I guess there's a way to do it. You know, you could do that and get some skills that could translate into real stand up. Try to remember. Done a lot of like fire gig shows. Those, I mean, they're not that strange though. They're fun. Oh, man, I wish I had a better answer for this. I can't think of good ones right now. I apologize. I feel like there's better ones. Just give the bookers your phone number. Yeah, it's not that easy. Cause some bookers you're friends with, but you're not like friends. So sometimes cause you just gotta like go with the flow. And sometimes that stuff comes off like not supernatural, you know, just like here, you know, it's sort of a thing like, cause in comedy, most people message each other via Instagram. That's the main way we message each other for shit. So most people, and then after a certain point, like I forget who the fuck it was, but one of my friends, I was just like, wait, why don't I have your number? And then like how much we were talking and interacting and shit like that. And then eventually you just give each other your number because it makes sense. So yeah. Discord for comics. Lou makes a good point. I just addressed it. I'd say get off socials, but I suppose that is impossible in Andy's line of work. I don't know if it's impossible. Again, at my level, it's good to have Instagram so people can message you. The more I do this, the less I think it matters that you have a Twitter. I don't fully know. I don't know. Just with all the bots and it's like Twitter seems like a place to get in trouble. Maybe in trouble is not the right word. Because that sounds gay. That's so funny. Liberty Twitcher seems to be a tad bit of a cunt. That's coming from the expert. Peddling devil drugs in the chat. Yeah. So. Oh yeah. When it comes to social media, no, because it's like you look at Twitter, and it's like a huge chunk of the app is bots, like Chinese, Russian. I'm sure from a million other places. It's a huge chunk of that app is bots. The majority, I don't know, at least 40%. That's what I've heard, and that it feels that way. And then a huge chunk of the app is not literal bots, but human beings that might as well be bots. And that, if you include the literal and unfortunate becoming of bots, that's honestly probably 60 to 70% of the app. And then the rest of it is probably people just like wanting to start shit and wanting to argue and wanting to like do something to make a tweet go viral so they can make a living off being a Twitter reply guy. That's another huge chunk of the app. And it's like, I could be wrong, but the amount of the app that's going to just be regular people that like see my shit and then go, oh, this is cool. Let me go follow him somewhere else. I mean, the amount of, especially to me only having like 2,700 followers, that amount of those human beings are a very small number. So, and then like on the flip side, I mean, let's look at, again, we'll bring up Shane because he's the fucking biggest comic in the country right now. Like, he's a guy who at this point never tweets. Like, I don't think Shane ever tweets. Because I noticed after he got, because he used to tweet a lot, and he used to have some really good tweets. I like when Shane jumps in on a conversation. He's got good tweets. But like, yeah, I'm looking at his Twitter. He, oh yeah, by the way, this video of Matt's specials, I hope it's like this with like all the little interstitials. Because that would be very cool if that's actually what he's doing in the special. Because Matt doing it would be sick. But yeah, okay. So Shane's Twitter, it's like Matt retweet, Rainey retweet, Matt retweet, Shane. Oh, I talked about this before. This was very funny. And the last time he tweeted himself was 2 weeks ago. And it's like Under Armour retweet, posting dates, lots of retweets for his stuff, dates, so biggest comic in the fucking world right now, he's just tweeting out dates. And it's like, it makes you, if you look at where me and him are both ends of the spectrum on like reach and pull and stuff. And if you look at what both of us are getting out of Twitter, it's like the data would show like, I don't think you really need Twitter right now. If you're like a comic or an entertainer or shit like that, I think it's good to like post clips and stuff. And like, I just like Twitter because it's so good I'll just like have these jokes in my head and I like posting them and I think they're funny. But because I used to take Twitter too seriously because I thought, well, I was like, maybe if I get a lot of traction, I can monetize it and shit. And then I started to realize I started seeing people post their monetization. Or no, I looked it up. I actually used Grok to look up their monetization payouts, and it's like shockingly low. And then you start realizing like, oh, this is what people are getting paid to make this app like a fucking cesspool. I got to be honest. I get caught by Twitter because it's like, it's the synapses in my brain that shoot off when you use the app. It's just fun because it's like how I am. I'm just looking for jokes and people to argue with and things like that. It's fucking, it's when it's good, it's good. When it's good, it's good. And then also too, I got to be straight up. It'll help me sometimes to be like, what are people talking about? But I don't know. Thinking about that, quick little sidebar on that, thinking about that, it is also a thing to like just not fucking worry about. Cause like I'm a big victim of feeling FOMO. And then it's like Twitter makes you feel like Twitter tricks you into thinking like this is the conversation being had. I like to feel like I'm in on the loop on shit. And then it's like, if you look at Twitter and assume that upwards of 70 to 80% of the app is either literally fake people or humans that have decided to become NPCs, you're like, are you really out of the loop if you don't pay attention to Twitter? Are you actually out of the loop? And honestly, I got to say, I don't think you are. I don't think you're actually out of the loop if you don't go on Twitter. I don't know if the loop is real anymore. And even when it was real, was it good? That's the questions we got to ask. This is the loop I want to be on. Home is where my butt is. Normalize liking gay ass shit. But yeah, I don't think Twitter's. I like it because it's fun. And then also sometimes for streaming stuff, I can find good clips to have conversations about. But yeah. Instagram still feels important. Instagram still feels important because Instagram still feels important because it's like a big messaging app to get people in on the mix. Yeah. So Instagram feels important. It was funny. I was talking to Pat about it. I think he mentioned it on one of the streams, and he was like, because Instagram feels important. TikTok is helpful in the world of TikTok. Because I don't know if because that's why I like to use TikTok, because I would love to. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I just, I like yapping. I'm a big fan of yapping. And when the yapping's gone too far over here or on other apps, TikTok's like, you can yap over here, big boy. And then also too, I got to keep it a buck. I mean, the fucking the fact that I can fucking just monetize stupid fucking TikToks. You know what I mean? Like, I could post a stupid video on my cat and then potentially pay my rent. Like, I don't know, man. But I also too, apparently, like, people on TikTok, like, I just got a message from this one dude or this band, because I also use my TikTok heavily to talk about music. And but yeah, I use my TikTok heavily to talk about music. And apparently, so I had this one TikTok where it was like, because I was just doing this to stay, because I like to stay updated on music. Less than 10,000 monthly listens on Spotify. Please comment below. Also, if you're a new band like that with new music, please slide into my DMs. I talk on here and YouTube a bunch about that stuff, and I try to stay up to date. Yeah, so I posted that, and then that like blew up, and I get messages to this day of people being like, "Yo, check out." And I've been behind on it, but no, I've like looked through it, and a couple, like, I've probably made 20 to 30 videos of these, of being like bands that responded to that, and then are like, and then I checked them out and I liked them and I posted about them. And I've probably made about 20 or 30 of those, and there's like 5 to 10 bands I still listen to kind of regularly, or if they pop up, I get excited to check them out. So it helps me. I mean, I only have 4,500 followers on here, so I don't know how much it helps them. But it feels good to, like, because all I want to do when it comes to music stuff, all I want to do is just promote better music. So it's like whatever mainstream, it's like my thing where, Sleep Token fans, they get really defensive because, they don't like being told that they listen to dog shit music. I get not wanting to hear that, but, don't listen to dog shit. Then people won't say that to you. But no, for real though, it's like my thing with Sleep Token is like people will be like, well, just let people have fun and listen to what they like. And I'm like, yeah, no, do that. I'm just telling you, like, you don't appreciate how much, like, you don't appreciate the amount of like how much better music there is out there, dude. You know what I mean? Like, give that to yourself. For real, dude. Give that to yourself of better music. And yeah, that's kind of like what I'm trying to do, is just like, it's just, there's so much dog shit out there. I'd love to be a good resource of less dog shit. You go to Big Red's TikTok, you'll be up to date on the good ass music. So I try to do that there. But then on top of that, it's just like the idea that I just post stupid TikToks and fucking pay my rent. It's crazy, dude. Or at least just have other money. And then, like, I can also I don't have to be. I don't, and it's like I don't have to do these. Wait, when did I make money? What the fuck? Interesting. And then on top of that, it's like you don't have to go about it in a hyper embarrassing way. You're like, that's also cool. That's also pretty fucking cool. So yeah, I don't know. TikTok a lot of times feels like you have to like sacrifice yourself at the altar of, I don't know, being embarrassing. And then it's like you only get to make fucking fake internet money if you sacrifice your integrity. And I probably do that to some people. Some people probably look at me and they go like, "You fucking dumb loser," but I disagree, and that's what matters. Many moons ago, I broke one of the classic rules and judged Big J by his looks. Turns out, dude, rules. Yeah, I mean, there's been that's Big J is always my barometer of like reminding yourself, like, don't judge a book by its cover, as corny as it sounds. That was aggressive. Bernie Mac started on the subway. The fuck is you saying? That's hilarious. Yeah, no, that's probably why Bernie Mac was better than I'll ever be. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's my mindset. But yeah, no, Big J's always a good barometer of like people. Whenever people hit you with like a hard list of comedy rules, you just go like Big J Okerson. And you're like, oh yeah, it's really just be funny. I know it from music. I would get calls from a venue after people drop and have to play shows within an hour or so notice. Yeah. Oh yeah, I did see that. Tilly Norwood. That like, it's funny. I saw a tweet from, here it is. I found a Variety article. It might actually be worth checking out. No, there was this tweet from Ben Avery that I retweeted that I have not as intense feelings. I don't have what am I trying to say? Here, wait. Let me just pull it up. This is very funny, by the way. I would have killed to look like this in high school. It's crazy looking back on it. But this is I wanted to be thin and dressed like this so badly. Thank God. Thank God I wasn't attractive in high school. Cuz there's definitely embarrassing pictures of me in high school, but there'd be much more different. Yeah, this. So I don't know who the fuck this guy is. And I don't know why. I'm not trying to follow shame anyone, but I don't know why this guy. I mean, I don't know who this is, but he's followed by a lot of people I know. I don't know, not a lot. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I'm not trying to do that follow shaming shit, but I see this post was insane. We are not ready for this. Court rules that Constitution protects private possession of AI generated CSAM. Which I don't know what is CSAM actually. Oh yeah, child sexual abuse material. And then yeah, you get these guys. Why on earth should we be concerned about this? The problem with child CP is not that its consumption is inherently immoral. Yes, it is. That's like, and I'm not saying all liberals and leftists agree with this guy. I'm not saying that all, but this is a tactic of, because this is like a deranged, should be under the prison leftists. This is not indicative of all leftists. You know what I'm saying? But like, this is a tactic. You know, it's. I'm not saying this is all leftist because this guy's a deranged fucking pre-pedo if he hasn't already. But like, this is the tactic where it's like they just go in being like, oh yeah, this highly debated claim is just assumed. But it's like the problem with CP is not that its consumption is inherently immoral. It is. That's an insane statement. It is inherent. It is very immoral. It's very bad to do that, but that its production entails harm. Well, I would say put even in the most gentle of scenarios, a child going through that is going to be some sort of harm. And yeah, production entails harm. Would you say that dangerous mining conditions make lab-grown diamonds immoral too? This reveals the core of anti-pedophile sentiment as being no different from anti-homosexual sentiment. By the way, homos, trying to lump you guys together. Might want to be a little bit more on watch for this shit. Both are purportedly about the harm to individuals, but are actually about persecuting disfavored minorities. We should ban harmful things, not things we dislike in others. Yeah, no. I've said this many times before. If you're a pedophile who's never acted on it and you give yourself up to the law or whatever, like there should be a like, we just have like a farm where if you're like a pedo that's never offended and you know you have this urge and you basically give yourself up to the state, it's basically like a low security prison where you just, you know, it's not going to be exceptionally lavish, but like you get to vibe out there because you've there is something oddly admirable in being like, I know I'm this diseased monster. Please put me in this area where I can't do any harm. So it's like, you know, it would be like it would be like one of those Swedish prisons where they give them PS2. In a hypothetical, like maybe we do that. Maybe. I don't know. In any other scenario, like, yo, I'm sorry God made you this way, but you gotta go, champ. like that's the thing. You know, I think a lot of times we spend too much time. You know, it's why I was joking before. It's why like the fence sitting or being a centrist. Like people act like being a centrist is good every time. And I go, not necessarily. Like if we're looking for a compromise, you know what I mean? If someone's like, I want American food, I want Mexican food, and you know there's a great Tex-Mex spot, you're like, brother, get ready. That's good. It's good to be a centrist on stuff like that. But when it comes to stuff like this, there's no time to be. It's literally one opinion or bye-bye, 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 wood chipper, bye-bye. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a fucking. So then you got, and then Ben Avery, my fault. He posted this.
Yes. Well, that's very interesting. We're going to have to come over to your house and kill you. No two ways about it.
And so, yeah, but I brought all that up. I have a much similar energy towards shit like this. Just like, and I'm not even a guy who's like, all AI is bad. I think it's good for, like, some of this AI shit is good for busy work. Like when I want to, because sometimes you'll Google something and all the search algorithms will be all fucked up and it'll be like annoying and difficult to find the exact information you want. I'm pro AI in those scenarios, but like this shit, like what's the fucking conversation? So I'm glad you brought this up. I wanted to talk about this. And if this is interesting enough, we can get into the actual article, but AI actress Tilly Norwood and says the union is opposed to the replacement of human performers by synthetics. Which what I don't even know the content. Oh, this is the SAG. There was one where like the guy was defending it. Like I don't even know what the full context of this is, because like, what do you mean you have an AI actress? Like, why would they want her? I don't even part of this comes off as a distraction, but if you're a legitimate human being, yeah, Ben Avery rule. Shout out, Ben. If you're like a real human being and your thing is like, oh shit, we're getting slowed down because this fucking website. Let me close some windows down. God damn it. I need a better computer. Guys, like and subscribe so I can buy a better computer. Oh, and also I will be updating Big Red, the Big Red in the Morning Patreon. Bonus shows on Saturdays. Yeah, I gotta close this website down. I'm sorry. Bonus shows on Saturdays. Wait. For the digital record, I love AI. Yeah, you guys are just getting on record for when Skynet takes over. I feel that that's the safe bet. No, I just don't know who's the fucking who's the guy making this, man? It doesn't make any sense. I also I don't fully comprehend how you like get this bitch in the mix. Like, what is it? What are you even fucking talking about? Like, they plug her in to your fucking program, but the market will weed this shit out. Anyway, the market will weed this shit out. You know what? I have to hit the restroom, guys. Damn, dude. 211. First piss crushing is at 211. Oh, look at that. There's an alien guy on Rogan. I'll throw this bitch up for you guys, and then I'll be right back.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
You know, like I remember when they were talking about things like the face on Mars, and you're like, what? That sounds so kooky. And then you see pictures, you go, hey man, what is that? Why don't I hear about that in school?
Yeah, well, we had Richard Hoagland on night after night after night after night for weeks on end when that came out. And actually, that face on Mars had a lot to do with my career path, actually.
Well, so what is your take on all this? Because one of the things that happened was with the face on Mars is the initial images were very grainy but fascinating, because it did kind of look like a face, but maybe even more remarkable, because sometimes there's faces like in the side of a rock, it looks like a face. More remarkable was the geometric pattern of the base of it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of dismissed that when the second images came out. So this is the original image. This is the original image that freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
They were like, oh my God, there's a face on Mars. And then they came up with these upgraded images, and I was like, well, that's not a face. It's just weird shadows, and it's probably just a mountain. But man, that's an odd shape.
Or that face has been doctored.
It could be true.
Yeah.
But also, then I looked at it and was like, that shape is interesting. Like it almost looks unnatural. Then the new images from very close to Cydonia that show a very clear square. This one's nuts, because this one is somewhere in the neighborhood of between plus 300 meters. Like they don't know how much longer it is than 300 meters, but it's the minimum size of this thing is 300 meters across, and it's a full-on square. Right angle, right. It's like, what the hell is that?
Well,
pull that picture up, Jimmy.
As a geologist, I was fascinated when Hoagland first started talking about what was happening here. So,
what's up, Jamie? Oh, that one. Yeah, the one that we bring up all the time.
Well, anyways, which one though?
Oh, it don't matter.
Some of
Just
them are
click
doctored.
on any of them.
Some of them are doctored though.
Yeah, the non-doctored one, the one next to it, like right there. Look at that. That's absolutely crazy.
So I don't know if I'm very familiar with this image. I don't know if you can see with your mind's eye. You're looking the lower left. That's a 90-degree angle. if you can see the rest of the 90-degree angle up at the top and over at the side, if you can trace out, that is one massive right there. Now you can see it. Yeah, the computer has cleaned it up. Nature does not work in 90-degree angles. You're not going to get wind erosion. Wind is called aeolian erosion. Fluvial.
Your nature might not. Mine does. No, I don't know. I love. I find a lot of the alien stuff fascinating, but also don't like. I don't know. I get more intrigued. You know what it is? There's a lot. The alien shit has so many more, like, truly dead ends and extra bullshit. Like, I think there's a lot of real alien shit, but excuse me. I think there's a lot of very real alien shit, but I also think there's a lot of very real alien shit, but I think there's a fuck ton of fake shit. Now, I don't know, man. The more I'm getting into all my conspiracy stuff, the more fake shit you start to realize. So, I don't know. I think like when it comes to conspiracies, you do like a Coke or Pepsi. You either go government corruption or you go aliens. And I chose the Coke. Although in the real world, this might be controversial, but I'm kind of a Pepsi guy right now. I haven't done Pepsi in a really long time. And I'm kind of a Pepsi boy, dude. Kind of a Pepsi boy. Joe would look good with one of those tiny I don't even fuck with space anymore. Oh yeah, I've seen the people who say space is fake. I don't know. I don't know what's the argument for space is fake? Sorry, guys. Just pulling up chats. Pulling up the chat with my boys in the chat. All the boys in the chat. Andy loves his fucking chat. Oh yeah, Slav. TikTok. Israel's buying TikTok, isn't it? RC Cola Zero Sugar is great. Dude, there's a Dollar General by my house I hit up, and they got the RC Cola on deck in there. I've been thinking about getting it. I don't even believe. Yeah, California is flat. California is not a sphere. It's flat. Extraterrestrial aliens don't take my taxes. Illegal aliens. That's funny. Can't listen anymore. That I know you're a Pepsi guy. No, I'm just currently a Pepsi guy, Dunbar. I haven't had it. Well, here's the thing. Any adult, God-fearing American, if you can't acknowledge wild cherry Pepsi is superior than to cherry Coke. That is a fact. That is a fact. Wild cherry Pepsi is superior to cherry Coke. Now, is Diet Coke the top beverage? It might be. I'm just saying I haven't had Pepsi in a while. And like Coke is a very like, here's your drink. Here you go, sir. Enjoy. Now on to your business meeting. Pepsi's like, hey, man, we're kind of having fun here, aren't we? You know, it's a little more robust. And I've been enjoying the Pepsi life right now. The view of the stars never changes. Yeah, if there's like a doc or a YouTube video, send it my way because I don't fully know. The doc is always great. Wait, what? It's all about that Dr. Pepper. I can't argue against cherry Pepsi. I really don't have a strong opinion on Coke versus Pepsi. That's fair. And Coke iced. Oh my god. Oh my god, so aggressive. Diet Coke rips, dude. I'm a girl boss. I need my Diet Coke. Coke icy mixed with a white cherry icy is better than cherry Coke. Ooh. That's pretty fucking assertive, dude. Diet Coke. Oh, I read that already. Is that the Dr. Pepper? That's that Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I don't have any strong. I know. There's a huge Dr. Pepper coalition out there. I don't have any strong opinions about Dr. Pepper. I like it. I think if I need to get stuff done when I'm girl bossing, I definitely crush a Diet Coke. Now, if I'm having a fun drive, with the sun down, letting my hair flow, I'll get a Pepsi. Now, if I'm sitting down for a big boy dinner and I want, some extra flavor to heighten my tasting experience, I'll get myself a Dr. Pepper or a root beer. I don't know. I like a good pepper, like a good root beer. It's a fun fucking time out there, boys. Let's I've had it in the title for so long. Let's actually watch this Tucker Carlson thing. I hope you're joking, but the view of the stars does definitely move. Different constellations are visible in different seasons. Yeah. That's the problem with a lot of that stuff. They'll be like especially with like they'll do it with like 9/11 or OKC. They'll be like, buildings don't do this, buildings don't do that. And you're like, is that true? And they'll be like, this is what would happen if a plane hit a building like this. You're like, is that? I don't know how buildings work. I don't know how buildings work. I don't know how planes work. I don't know how buildings work. So I need someone to explain it better. But from my best guess, buildings don't fall like that, brother. Anyway, speaking of which, let's get into part 2 of Tucker Carlson's 9/11 files, the cover-up commission. This, between you and me, guys, and I did want to save it for you guys, but I may have watched this already. It's a very interesting one. It's about the Jersey Girls. There's a bunch of ladies who, unfortunately, had loved ones who died in 9/11. And they wanted a commission, obviously they want a commission to check into it, research it, do all that stuff. And then they were just like kind of paying attention to it, being like, yeah, what are you guys doing? And it was like the process they were going through to like check this shit out. It's not good. Yes, let's check it out.
Bastard child with a prostitute.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that.
In January 2000, as the CIA was tracking 2 future hijackers as they journeyed to Los Angeles, George W. Bush was 7 months into his presidential campaign.
What we're going to do is we're going to do something no other presidential candidate has been able to do. The near impossible. Remember what it was? The near impossible turn like that. One of the most exhilarating moments of my political career, and yours too.
His campaign was working to take down his opponent at the time, Arizona Senator John McCain, by spreading rumors he'd fathered a black bastard child with a prostitute.
You should be ashamed. Yeah, you should be ashamed.
The following December, 2 other hijackers, Muhammad Atta, the ringleader of the plot, and Marwan al-Shehi, were finishing their pilot training in Venice, Florida on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah, that pilot training shit was so funny, too, because obligatory Tucker laugh. Tucker Carlson laughs like what was the fucking movie? Amadeus. He laughs like that dude in Amadeus, Mozart. He laughs like Mozart. Yeah, Tucker Carlson laughs like he should be wearing a powdered wig. But yeah, no, wasn't that flight school shit the kind of shit where it was like they all went to that flight school and that they were like, yeah, no one ever really asked us how to land the planes. They just wanted to know how to take them off. How to take off in them.
In Washington, the Supreme Court ruled that George W. Bush had won the 2000 election. John McCain wanted to get political revenge. When he got his chance 10 months later, it would have historic consequences. The official story of what happened on 9/11 comes from a single report, the 9/11 final report of the National Commission. In the 2 decades since it was released, it has become the basis for all media coverage of terror attacks that day. What the media never mentioned is that the commission itself was a farce. It was intentionally underfunded, it was poorly structured, it was from top to bottom corrupt. 2 years after the report was released, the commission's own chairman admitted it was set up to fail.
Americans have many questions tonight. Americans are asking, who attacked our country?
Beginning in the first hours after the attacks,
I forgot how much of a dumbass Bush was. Not even a dumbass. He's probably like average intelligence compared to everyone else, but like just the way he talked. Who coming after that? Who doing that? What the hell's going on?
in the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, the Bush administration began leveraging the tragedy to launch their next project, a so-called global war on terror.
The evidence we have gathered all points to a collection of loosely affiliated terrorist organizations known as Al-Qaeda.
In a normal country, its leaders would insist on an answer to the simple question: how did a terror network closely monitored by the United States intelligence agencies, including a unit dedicated to following them at CIA headquarters in Langley, how did a group like that manage to pull off the 9/11 attacks in broad daylight? That's the question. But this is not a normal country, and it was never answered. In fact, the Bush administration ferociously opposed any attempt to look carefully at what happened that day. And that presents a bigger question. Why? What did they have to hide?
My name is Kristen Breitweiser. My husband Ron was killed on September 11th.
Breitweiser is one of 4 9/11 widows who became famous at the time as the, quote, Jersey Girls. They were some of the only people in public life in the United States who wouldn't let it go. They didn't believe the official 9/11 story, and they often said so. They were all over the media for several years.
This happens a lot too. That happened in OKC, where some of the biggest quote unquote truthers, and I'm using their terms, not like it is funny. You get smeared because you're just being like, hey, this was weird. And you know how everyone thinks it's weird? This was weird. What the hell actually happened? Now you're a truther and people treat you like a dickhead. But no, it happened a bunch in OKC. There's I was hearing a lady, I think she was on Scott Horton's podcast. I forget where I was listening to her on. Actually, Tucker had a really good interview with a lady talking about OKC that I never finished, that I kind of want to go back now on. But no, it's some of the people, HBO just put out a documentary about it a couple months ago, and it was a mother who got, you know, the catastrophic event took their loved ones away, took their kids away. And like they end up being I how do I say this right? It's like there's part of, when it comes from the angle of like looking for truth and stuff, you're almost like appreciative they do it because they add more credence, because you're not allowed. It's like they had a fucking loved one die. It's like you don't get to be dismissive of them. I can just be some random kook that's into it. They actually had a physical loved one who died, so you don't get to be as dismissive of them. So for the broader picture of figuring out the fucking crime, it's very helpful. But they honestly become way better at it than anyone else involved in the case, because they have like the biggest fucking dog in the fight. So yeah, these groups of don't, if you're trying to do something nefarious, don't murder suburban housewives' loved ones. It's a simple strategy. Don't do it.
Determined to identify government officials who may have been complicit in the tragedy. In the end, they were ignored.
We were looking at a Bush administration that really was not interested in looking backwards. There was a push to immediately go to war. There was an invasion into Afghanistan.
Sorry, I don't mean to be a big tard, but that foot bend is wild. How's she doing?
We were looking at
that's a crazy foot bend. I don't know if my fat ass can do that. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's not that weird. It's just from the fucking vantage point over here, it looks wild.
A Bush administration that really was not interested in looking backwards. There was a push to immediately go to war. There was an invasion into Afghanistan, and then there was the queue up for the war in Iraq.
Oh yeah, that was a thing he points out where, well, he'll get to it, but it was like Donald Rumsfeld or someone. The second the attacks happened, he goes, "It was this. Was this?" He like, "It was this, or was this Al Qaeda? Was this Iraq?" They're like, immediately starts asking this place they've been. Big Red tears MC. Just fucking. This is that video of Eddie Bravo just popping my knee out of place. No, there is like, it's like the immediacy some of these people had to be like, can we use this as an excuse to invade those people for Israel? Can we do that? Can we do that?
The rest of the world hears you, and the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Rather than get to the bottom of what actually happened, the Bush administration immediately exploited the crisis to push for what it really wanted, which was an invasion of Iraq. In his book, Against All Enemies, George W. Bush's counterterrorism czar Richard Clarke said that when he went back to the White House immediately after 9/11,
wait, what's this book?
Which was an invasion of Iraq.
Because I'm trying to get myself some 9/11 books. I was reading some OKC books, just being like, I don't got, because I low key, this might come off bad. 9/11 got to be the most fun one to research. I'm a researcher. But then I was like, I don't got any good 9/11 books.
In his book,
Against All Enemies,
George W. Bush's counterterrorism czar Richard Clarke said that when he went back to the White House immediately after 9/11, he, quote, expected to go back to a round of meetings examining what the next attacks would be, what our vulnerabilities were. Instead, he realized with what he called almost sharp physical pain that Rumsfeld and Wolfowitz were going to take advantage of the tragedy to promote their agenda about Iraq. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they immediately were like, yo, can we finally fit this into the shit we want to do? Yo, this, by the way, every time, not every time. I too have 9/11. I'm not saying all that. I'm just saying it's the most interesting one. I'm not saying it's a fetish, dude. I always find this very interesting. So I just looked up. Here, let me bring it up on Amazon. I looked up this book where the guy in it is being like, 9/11 didn't seem, it seemed like there was a lot of nefarious actors in this thing, this 9/11 shit. And yeah, okay. So I will say props to Amazon. When you bring it up on Amazon, the first thing is the book that they just showed, Richard A. Clarke. But it just so happens when I looked it up on my phone, because I like to get books on the Apple Book app sometimes. Look what else they have here. I mean, I guess it's like Tom Clancy. There's immediately like a fucking Tom Clancy book. You know what I mean? And it's all like that happens. Yeah, it just, and I'm sure that, because I've never read the Tom Clancy stuff, but I'm pretty sure they're very like, it's like very pro-government propaganda type shit. Tell me, let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's that kind of shit. I can't imagine they get too critical of the war machine in Tom Clancy novels. But yeah, like, and that happens like a lot. Not like every fucking time, but it happens a noticeable amount of times, is when there's a popular book going against the machine. There always just seems to be another piece of media with the same name that, like, it seems like it's like, well, hopefully it gets people going over here, or it just muddies the waters. And then on top of that, whenever I see, because I was thinking about this too, I just looked up Tragedy and Hope. That's apparently like Carol Quigley, like the history of the world from like the Conspiracy Bros point of view and shit like that, or something like that. I forget exactly what it is. Well, no, wasn't it like Bill Clinton said it was like a favorite book of his and shit like that. Something like that. But that's another one that's always like, it's hard to find a reasonably wait. Am I wrong? Yeah. Never mind. I'm wrong about that. It's so funny. Sure you don't. That's how it starts. Yeah, I got a little bit of a 9. No, it's kind of coincides with this. There's a pretty sick 9/11 iceberg video on here. And I've watched one of those, and it's like 9/11 on such a large scale. It's so obviously it's one of those that's like so obviously something happened, like something was up, and it implicates so many fucking elements of our society. I think like because there's been so many crazy things the past couple years, I go like, I don't know. I don't think people still to this day talk about 9/11 enough. Like we did for a while, obviously, but it seems like one that's still relevant to be in on the conversation. That's so funny. That's not real, right? I like how people started looking into Operation Able Danger. All of a sudden, there's a porn star. Yeah, dude. They're doing it right in front of us. To quote the great Pat George, they're doing it right in front of us.
On the afternoon of September 11th, Rumsfeld said his instinct was to hit Saddam Hussein at the same time, not only bin Laden. The day after the attack, Bush asked Clark to...
Dude, that's so funny. I literally was like, he's fucking with me. But like, I just was like, I'm wondering. And there actually is something called Operation Able Danger. Was U.S. military intelligence program initiated in 1999 aimed at confronting al-Qaeda. That's so fucking funny.
Anyway.
Oh, wait, back it up.
To promote their agenda about Iraq. And that's exactly what they did. On the afternoon of September 11th, Rumsfeld said his instinct was to hit Saddam Hussein at the same time. Not only the day after the attack, Bush asked Clark to see if Saddam did this, see if he's involved in any way. And while meeting with the president on September 15th at Camp David, Wolfowitz argued that Iraq was ultimately the source of the terrorist problem and should therefore be attacked.
We learned quite quickly that we were not going to get the answers that we really wanted with regard to the murder, the homicide of our 3,000 loved ones. My husband, Ron, was 39 when he was killed. He was a really good man. He was smart and a good dad. And he had called me on the morning of September 11th. I was rushing out the door to take my daughter to speech therapy. And I had no idea what was going on. I didn't have the television on. And he was like, "Sweets, it's me, I'm okay." And I had no idea. I'm like, "What? Okay, I'm glad you're okay." And he was like, no. He's like, "Put the television on." And he's like, "It's not my building. I knew you would be worried. It's not my building." And I put the television on and I was still on the phone with him. And I was like, "Oh my God, like what is that?" And he was like, "There's an explosion in the building next to me, but it's not my building. I'm safe. I'm fine." And I was like, "It's really bad. It looks bad." And he was like, "That's why I called. Don't worry. It's not my building." And he's like, and then his voice cracked and he was like, "Sweets." He's like, "People are falling out the windows." I'm like, "Just, what are you going to do?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to go down to the trading floor and see if I can find a television to see what's going on. We don't know anything." He's like, "But I didn't want you to worry. I love you." He's like, "I'll call you back." And, that was the last I spoke to him. And, like 3 minutes after we got off the phone, I still had the TV on and I saw his building explode right where he was. And I wish I told him to run. I wish I told him to get out. I wish I told him, "It's not safe. Something's wrong. Get out." But I didn't. I think, feeling that way, feeling like, why didn't I know? Why didn't I have a woman's instinct to be like, get out, made me want to fight for the commission and for everything else, because I felt like the American public deserves to know.
The Bush administration, which at the time was enjoying a historic 90% approval rating, was pushing a very clear storyline. They told the country that Osama bin Laden had simply caught American authorities off guard.
There was no silver bullet that could have prevented the 9/11 attacks.
That was a lie. And by May,
and that always goes back to the same thing with any of this shit. It's like, if it's not a conspiracy, if there's not like some conspiracy where you guys plan some of this to some degree, it's like, well, then you're the dumbest fucking people in the world. And I don't want, I'd rather, like, there's always part of me that's like, I'd rather roll the dice with no government than this government.
May of 2002, more than 2/3 of Americans understood that it was a lie. They wanted an investigation into the so-called intelligence failures that led to the attack. The initial effort to investigate 9/11 was a joint congressional commission led by Senator Bob Graham, a Democrat of Florida, and Congressman Porter Goss, a former CIA officer who would later become the agency's director, appointed by Bush.
These public hearings are part of our search for truth.
Cheney did not want anyone looking into his failures that day, the administration's failures, and more than anything, I think he and the political strategist Karl Rove were very focused on the president's reputation, on ensuring that he would get reelected.
The lengths that the Bush administration went to kill the investigation into 9/11 are shocking. In the winter of 2002, Dick Cheney called the then Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle of South Dakota and made a threat. The Veep told Daschle the leaders of the war on terror would be too busy to get bogged down in preparing for and testifying in front of the committees. The strong implication of this, if you insist, will say you're interfering with the war effort. The committee moved forward anyway. On June 19, 2002, they discovered that the NSA had intercepted messages from al-Qaeda operatives from the day before the attacks, saying, quote, "The match begins tomorrow," and "Tomorrow is 0 day." It couldn't have been clearer. Someone on the committee leaked those messages to the news media. CNN.
You know what's funny? Even if you take out the fact that there's like things like this letting you know that they were doing an attack, it's like there's other shit where some of these Saudis that eventually went to do the attack, it was like they were in this country, like there was suspicious shit around them way before 9/11 started, where you have these dudes who got in this country a weird way and they're like getting their, like, they were on people. I think they talked about it in the first one. Like they were like, these dudes were like on their radar to a degree. And it's like, I don't know. I swear a lot of this bad shit happens too, outside of the whole conspiracy conversation. I feel like a lot of this bad shit happens too, because like we have our criminal justice system has such a, we'll analyze it after it happens, like process of doing shit. It's so focused on the punishment and the analyzation and not enough focus on prevention. It's like similar to a lot of places where there's a huge homeless problem. One of the elements of a huge homeless problem is whether it's overtly or subtly letting people know, like, you can do this and shit won't happen to you. And if the vibe is, if you do this, you will get fucked with and kicked out and all this other shit. Like, if the vibe is just, yo, you can't do this here, you're gonna get less of it. It's like why I believe most of the drop in illegal immigration has come from the sheer fact that, like, it's put out there, yo, if we catch you, you're getting sent back. And that's called, because it's a long, dangerous trip from like Mexico, South America, shit like that. I guess that's the same, whatever. If you're coming from down south of America, some would call it South America. If you're coming from down there and like, it's just out there that it's like, if you get there, it's going to be way harder for you to get in. And they're looking to send people back. You're going to be less likely to come. So it's the same thing where it's like, if you're trying to plan a terrorist attack and it's like, yo, they're on our ass, they're catching us. It's like, you're going to get less of that. It's why, a lot of our shit, we do not focus enough on prevention. We just focus on reacting
and broadcast them. And in retaliation for this, for telling the truth, the Bush administration sicked the FBI, then run by Robert Mueller, on the committee.
The FBI, really came down hard on the joint inquiry.
Yeah, Mexico is North America. I was just saying it's south of North America. You didn't hear me properly. I didn't say anything dumb. You just misheard me. But yeah, it's cool you finally found that out, because I knew that, Lou. But you finally found that out. That's really cool.
They polygraphed, they interviewed, they made all kinds of threats. And so, so when the FBI comes after you, it's kind of scary, because you're looking at not only, potentially losing your position in Congress, but also imprisonment.
It was pure intimidation.
And so it had a very chilling effect, in my opinion, on the progress of the inquiry and their investigation.
In the end, Congress did make some interesting discoveries, most of which were redacted in the final report. The Jersey Girls continued to push for the truth. They were furious. They demanded an independent commission. George W. Bush's political enemies agreed. John McCain's revenge was an independent commission that would explore the truth about what happened on 9/11.
This legislation that calls for a blue ribbon commission to examine the facts surrounding September 11th.
On November 27, 2002, President Bush, fearing major political blowback if he vetoed the commission, signed the bill into law. But he managed to neuter the commission in the process. His allies in Congress gave the commission weak subpoena power and limited them to a strict 18-month timeline. They appropriated for the entire investigation just $3 million. By Washington standards, it was nothing. By comparison, Congress gave 13 times more funding to investigate the Monica Lewinsky scandal. It appropriated 11 times more funding for Robert Mueller's investigation into Russiagate. The administration and the Congress simply didn't want the public to know what happened.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. It's again, it's why it's like, I don't know, man. Just that whole, we just gotta get the right people in, or people who have that overtly or vague mindset is just like laughable to me, because it's like, yeah, look, like when it's time to send Israel or Ukraine or something like that money, they find it. But when they force you not to work because of an upper respiratory disease, it's like, I mean, we might have 3K for everyone. It's like some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, look. When it's attack of when Saudis kill 3,000 of us, you're like, yeah, you get a couple bucks. Oh, did the president get his dick sucked, and we want to make this into a big political thing to get him out of here? Well, we found some money there.
Happened on 9/11, but that wasn't the only thing they did to subvert the truth.
The White House, one of the ways that they controlled the commission was they were going to choose the chairman.
Their first...
Oh, is this true? Supposedly they were considered high risk not to be let in. CIA Director John Brennan said let them in anyway. Yeah, that's like the thing too, where it's like, it's and you'll see it more in this video, where it's like the type of, it's why all this stuff is so complicated to parse out and like relay to people who aren't deep into this shit, because it's like, it's not super simple to express why. It's like, well, they did a 9/11 commission report, and it's like, well, then you got to take some time to really break down why that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Like the stuff they do this, I don't know exactly the right way to phrase it, but they just add all these layers and all this. They create this fucking maze of problems and all this extra bullshit. And then that's why it's like narrative control is so useful, because, you could be deep into the shit and know close to the true story. But if you're trying to talk to other people who don't know the real shit and they don't know the real story, and they're just bogged down with, the propaganda surrounding it, you got to deal with that. So it's like perfect example, like Charlie Kirk. If I'm talking about Charlie Kirk, it's like, well, who am I talking to? Am I talking to a guy who just is convinced is Israel and doesn't want to look at it any other way? Am I talking to a guy who thinks that video of the dude adjusting his shoulder, like adjusting a zipper on his shirt or something, is like a little small gun? You know, it's like, who am I talking to? Which version of this did you hear? And you're like, that's why all this stuff is so exhausting and why narrative control is so important and why I think people talking about it like this is good. Like being informed, I said it before, but being informed is way more useful than you think it is, because it's like if we can all talk about something and the realities of it are already agreed upon, we can be more productive. That's why I think the new thing they're doing is like information overload. Because like no one can agree upon reality. Everyone goes, nothing's real anymore. I think everything's real. No one can agree what's real anymore. That's what I think the problem is. And it's like, if everyone's disagreeing on what reality is, progress gets put to a screeching halt.
Choice with Henry Kissinger.
Today I'm pleased to announce my choice for Commission Chairman, Dr. Henry Kissinger.
At the time, I was like 30 years old, so I had known Kissinger, but I didn't really.
Wait, this comment's interesting. Civics was removed from public education so that people become more ignorant of the powers they have to confront power. I don't think you're right. I think you can still buy Honda Civics. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, no. Little rascal I am. I am a little rascal. But yes, I didn't know that. That would make sense. That would make sense if they're teaching that. Well, it does seem like there's a misunderstanding of the nature of what government should be. That's why you get a lot of people. Well, it's one of the best resources they have for libertarians to not get power, because no one understands them properly. I've watched so many videos of so many podcasts, I've had so many conversations where people go like, I don't like libertarians. And then they describe you what they think a libertarian is. And you're like, that's not what it is. And it's like, oh yeah, that's half the reason there's so much bad PR is everyone has the wrong understanding of a libertarian, and their version of it is like the worst thing ever. Government implemented mass psychosis. I think that's right. Yeah, school is crazy these days. My cousin is a sophomore and taking all fun classes and English. Well, there's all a bunch of little shit. Like, I think they make school annoying on purpose. You know what I mean? It's like I associate. That's why it's like for me, I've always joked about it, but like, it's like school made reading annoying as shit. And so like I have that association. And so like for the longest time I'd look at books and shit like, oh, that's just that fucking bullshit. That's not fun. Nothing over there is enjoyable. And then over time you start realizing like, oh no, you just got to get books you like. Because that was my other problem too. Just feeling fucking dumb and insecure all the time. You're always making yourself consume shit because you think it makes you smart if you consume this. And in actuality, it's like, just focus on the things you like. Because I was doing it last night. I was trying to read this one book I have, because I think if I read it, it makes me feel like I'm fucking worth more. So that came off super depressing. And then I was like, I don't want to read this. Then I put that down. And then I got this I got this one book on my phone that's like a deep dive into OKC. And I was fucking plowing through that shit. And it's like, oh yeah, just focus on the stuff you like. Stop looking for other people's validation. Just focus on the shit you like.
You know, as a stay-at-home suburban housewife, it's not like I, had dived into all of Henry Kissinger's horrible acts and his status as a war criminal.
Dr. Kissinger is one of our nation's most accomplished and respected public servants.
Kissinger had served as National Security Advisor and then Secretary of State under Richard Nixon. He pushed a massive expansion of the Vietnam War, including secret bombings in Cambodia and Laos.
There are questions about his role in Vietnam, his role in the coup in Chile.
When we first met him, he gave us this long talk about how honored it was, and it was like the, opportunity, not the opportunity, but like a responsibility of a lifetime.
It is a great honor to be appointed by the president to be chairman
of the nonpartisan independent commission.
In 2002, he was running a lucrative consulting business called Kissinger Associates.
I really spent a bit of time researching him, predominantly his clients. And we had grave concerns that he was chosen by the vice president and the president and Karl Rove because he was really good at what he does.
Yeah, I got that. I think it's Christopher Hitchens. I gotta listen to it again. Actually, let me re-download that shit onto my phone. But I got that Christopher Hitchens book of basically like Henry Kissinger is the worst fucking dude you've ever met in your entire life. And yeah, but I'm not deep into my Henry Kissinger knowledge. I said that. I don't know why I said that like that. But I'm not deep into, I don't know enough about Henry Kissinger, but I listened to that audiobook and I retained about, a fourth of it at best. But yeah, apparently some of the stuff he did was just like, he's just like the worst dude ever.
And so we were also concerned about his clients and that he had a huge conflict of interest. And so we were invited to meet with him at his offices on Park Avenue. We were put into his office. It was kind of close quarters. It was really, really hot. He had the heat turned up to like 100 degrees. And, it was the winter. So we had like turtlenecks on and sweaters and stuff. So we're like sitting there like sweating. And he's just sitting there calmly.
Cranking up the thermostat is a well-known manipulation strategy. If you make a room uncomfortably hot, the discomfort puts pressure on the other negotiating
Oh yeah, The Trial of Henry Kissinger is the Christopher Hitchens book.
Party to make concessions more quickly.
So at one point, after we got through the niceties, one of the widows had asked him who his clients were. Do you represent any Saudi royals? Do you represent anyone in the Bin Laden family? And, at the time,
I hear you on this, brother, but I will say elected reps are servants, not celebs or royalty. The lack of accountability Americans expect from their reps each election cycle has given them the government they deserve. I will say this though. I mean, you are right to a degree, but like I never fully get on board with you get the government they deserve. Cause it is like, I don't know. It undersells how like truly fucking propagandized we are, and it's like, it is our own damn fault in one sense, but it's that shit where it's like some people start on third base. I'm starting in the fucking locker room. You know what I mean? It's like, we got a lot of hurdles to get over. So I try not to like fucking come down on people and like blame them specifically. Cause with the level of propaganda people are fucking hit with, and if you're just being a good, normal human being who's trying to chill and do a good job, like, it's not your fault you're not like a deep, knowledgeable political science major. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of, like, you see it a lot of times. Oh, I was talking about it with part one of this. Like, part one, I mean, both of these, they're both like 25 minutes long. And after watching them, you have a much stronger understanding of like things going on with 9/11 than you would ever just consuming like mainstream media and stuff like that. So it is like there's like an active, there's like an active effort to keep us all, fat and coming and stupid. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I'm not sitting here going like, this is what you fucking deserve. And it's like, I don't know, man. I give people a lot more credit because I think the average person's like, the average person's like a decent human being and they're just trying to like figure life out. And it's, there's all these just like evil forces in the world that are just coming for you, dude. And it's like, if you're not locked in on them, is it a thing of like, yeah, you fucking get this, you stupid piece of shit? I'm not necessarily saying you said that, but I'm just saying broadly. And it's like, do they get to, yes, it is Dinkelberg's fault. Dinkelberg. It's like a thing of like, is it really their fucking, you stupid people. It's like when people talk about, like college kids who don't want to pay their student loans. It's like, well, it's your responsibility at the end of the day to pay your student loans. It is your responsibility. But then it's like people just have zero sympathy for them. And it's like, well, you took a bunch of teenagers, one of the stupidest age groups and, one of the stupidest group of people in the world. It's not their damn fault. And you have these loans that are guaranteed to them. And you have this kid who's like, hey, I'm going to need 6 figures so I can go learn this thing that will not make me any money. And it's like, just the predatory nature of all that. If then it's like, oh, you're just going to guarantee, the bank will just give you that because the government will guarantee it, because the scam of student loans is so fucking, crazy that it's the one thing you can't file. It's the one, you can't file bankruptcy or whatever you're supposed to do to you can't default on it. Nothing. There's people whose social security is being garnished, is because of their student loans. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's crazy. And it's do I look at them and go, you did this to yourself, you stupid piece of shit? It's no, I have a little bit of sympathy because, they fell victim to this predatory system. So yeah, I will say this though. It's the same thing as I look at the everyone's bitching about ticket sales right now and how expensive everything is. People are looking at that. Obviously the people just say it's well, stop paying so much money. And you should. No one I love Blink 182. No one in this world should ever be paying $500 for a Blink 182 ticket. People who are going to see My Chemical Romance and spending $1,000, what are you doing? But also, none of these bands are speaking up about that. You don't see any bands talking about it. And it's I put more responsibility on them, on this conversation than I do normal people. Because they're the ones who can really fucking fix it. I actually just downloaded it on my Audible a month or two ago. Have you read Debt, Anarchist History of Money and How Empires Evolved Around the Tech? 10 out of 10 audiobook is free on YouTube as well. Well, I wish I'd known that before I spent money on it on Audible. It's I made sure to get that because I've heard just out of random people. I heard people. I promise you, not a single person earning Social Security has any student loans left to pay off. That's not that crazy. If you that's not an. I think you're underselling how not crazy that statement is. And also, too, I've just heard people say that who are in the middle of that. So, I guess every single person saying that was lying, and I just misunderstood them or something. But yeah, I don't know if you get 6 figures worth of debt. If you get 6 figures, if you get 6 figures worth of debt, and then if you get that much fucking debt and you never get a good job and you get all this other shit going wrong with you, it's definitely possible. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're wrong on that one, Slav, but I'm going to keep it moving. Bands will only be performative for Palestine. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people say some great things about that Debt book, and I want to check it. I listened to the first chapter on the audiobook. It's very good.
It wasn't that much of an outrageous question because there were members of the Bin Laden family who had relationships with, the Bush family and others. And so it wasn't like it was an outrage question. And he immediately got flustered and, went to pick up a cup of tea or coffee and spilled it on the table. He feigned that it was his fake eye, which didn't know that he had a fake eye. And we immediately went to clean it up like moms, oh, it's okay. And then he just never answered the question. And then the very next day, he resigned.
Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger stepped down from the position Friday.
So did you know that before the current generation, chips and fries were cooked in natural...
Jesus Christ, Tucker.
Before we eat them all, and we eat a lot. Scrambling to find a new chairman, Bush's top political advisor, Karl Rove, called former New Jersey Governor Tom Kean and offered him the job. Why was George W. Bush's political bagman making this phone call? No one's ever explained.
Tom is the nicest guy on the planet. He's very much a gentleman. He does not go for the jugular.
After he accepted the job, Kean was dragged to the White House where the president's top advisors told him, "We want you to stand up. You've got to stand up. You've got to have courage. We don't want a runaway commission." In other words, do what we say.
The White House's fingerprints were certainly all over the commission.
Chairman Kean ultimately admitted the commission was, quote, set up to fail. And that's absolutely true. But in addition to a meaningless budget, the tight timeline, and weak subpoena power, there was another problem: the man Kean selected to run it. On January 27, 2003, the commission issued a press release announcing they'd selected an academic called Philip Zelikow to be the commission's executive director.
He was sold to us as a historian. I was responsible for the research for Zelikow to make sure that he didn't have any conflicts of interest. He had a lot of conflicts of interest.
The release describes Zelikow as, quote, a man of high stature who had distinguished himself as an academician, a lawyer, author, and public servant. The release did not note that Zelikow was an active Bush administration official. He served on a White House intelligence advisory panel. It also failed to note his extensive ties to Condoleezza Rice. He'd served on her transition team. He'd co-authored a book with Rice in 1995. In 2002, at Rice's behest, Zelikow authored a policy paper championing preemptive invasions. And this cemented his role as a key architect of the disastrous invasion of Iraq. Zelikow was the perfect person to keep the commission from finding the truth.
I believe he was placed there to, again, play the gatekeeper, to ensure that the commission would not unearth the truth, and more than anything, to protect the Bush administration and also lay the groundwork for the war in Iraq, in addition to other things.
Yeah, that's it's very similar to in a lot of these agreements that they have to, like, you know, it's like during World War II when they were like China, or I'm sorry, Jesus Christ, don't take anything I do seriously. Japan, they're like want unconditional surrender, and they're just like, that's all you have to do. But they like know that goes contrary to Japanese culture and all the things like that. So you like, they know they're not gonna do that. It's like they've been doing a bunch of that stuff with like Israel, where it's like, you know, they'll be like, we're trying to do a deal with Hamas and Gaza and shit like that. And then they put stuff in the deal where that's like, they know they're not going to agree with that. And they're like, that's how they kind of like pretend to get away with stuff. And it's like, that's similar to this, where it's like, it's almost it's the same, but reverse, I guess, where it's like, okay, we'll do the thing you want to do. And then they appoint a guy that they know is going to fuck shit up. So it's like, okay, it's like, then they can be like, we did the commission report, and it's like, but it got done very badly, and you knew it was going to happen. What was this comment about the debt thing? Not being able to default your debt creates imprisonment. Lenders must always face the consequences of risk, both good and bad. Otherwise, it's a corrupt system meant to legalize indentured servitude. Yeah, and that's the one reason why I hate big government, is because the bigger the government gets, the more people like that can take advantage, to use the government to basically get rid of their risk, but then it makes your life a fucking nightmare. It's also listening to the first chapter of that debt book. It also, everyone always puts it on the person who like wants the loan or the credit card or anything like that, of like, you did the irresponsible thing. And no one ever talks about how it's like, you know, like, how evil are you knowingly giving this person this credit card with a crazy high interest rate and a crazy high, like, amount of a crazy high limit approved, knowing it's gonna get them into shit. Like, no one talks about, because I don't even like shit on, because there are times where you're in a bad position and it's like, you're glad you're glad you have a credit card. But at the same time, like when you look at some of these rates that people put on loans and credit cards and all this other shit, like people don't talk enough about how like kind of evil that is. Like, because I remember when I was younger, I would always very easily default to be like, well, if you're too stupid to know A, B, and C, and it's like the older I get, the more I'm just like, or we could just like, try not to take advantage of vulnerable people. Like that could also just be the standard where it's like, if that happens to you, you got to face the consequences because unfortunately you were naive. But also, we need to do a better job at demonizing people who take advantage of vulnerable people. It's way too much of just like I saw this like fucking video one time. It's like the thing when people post on TikTok about bitching have to be like, it's not exactly vulnerable people, but it's still a similar thought process and similar logic. But it's like when people on TikTok or social media will post a thing of like, oh, we're closing in a half an hour and this fucking table of all these people came in, and then just like, ooh, boo hoo, I have to do my job when I'm at work. And there is something to that, but there is also there is like, it's like when people work at there's that one TikTok that goes around, or the screenshot of the TikTok of some lady working at Starbucks, and she's like, another morning of making grown men their milkshake to go to work or whatever. And it's like, bitch, you work there, make the fucking milkshake. But there is also another thing of like, oh, boo-hoo. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we come in while your store was still open? And it's like, yeah, no, you're allowed to, but you understand, like, you're being a dick. Like, if the restaurant closes in 15 minutes and you're sitting down for food and you order like a full meal and shit, like if you're coming in with 15 minutes left and you're just like, oh, sorry guys, we're really hungry, we don't have anywhere else to go, can we just get 2 dinners and we'll be out of here? That I think is perfectly fine. If the kitchen is bitching, fuck them. But it's like, dude, do we just lose? Well, that's your job and you should do your job and have no emotion about it. And it's like, oh, so do we just lose just compassion? I don't know. Shit's crazy.
Zeliko's first move was to pre-write the entire report before the facts were in. In March of 2003, before the investigation had even begun, Zeliko had already prepared a detailed outline complete with chapter headings, subheadings, and sub-subheadings.
Oh yeah, this is crazy. He already had the complete outline and breakdown of the fucking thing. And then you'll see he says when the book came out, it was basically that, or the report.
Headings. He kept all of this a secret from the rest of the staff.
As it turned out, his outline is nearly verbatim to what the final book looks like. And so what I believe is that he just basically had the outline, knew that it was a quote-unquote safe outline. It was probably approved by the Bush administration.
His second move was to consolidate his power. Zeliko gave himself total control over the hiring process.
He at first tried to block the staffers from communicating with the commissioners.
In a now public memo, Zeliko cut off his staff's access to the commissioners. Quote, if you are contacted by a commissioner with questions, please contact Deputy Director Chris Kojum or me. Zeliko restricted access to documents. He divided the staff into separate teams. He siloed them from each other. And he closely supervised Team 3. That was the group that dealt with classified information from the White House and the CIA. One of Zeliko's first moves was a secret agreement with the Justice Department to block access to the files of the congressional inquiry until the White House had had a chance to review them first.
Zeliko was sort of limiting access to documents when people were requesting specific things. Zeliko would block it.
Notably, the final report contains a full 61 references to finding no evidence of certain claims about 9/11.
The cute way of explaining why Zeliko uses that phrase is that if you don't look for the evidence, you don't find the evidence. And so you're not lying when you say we found no evidence.
At one
Yeah, that's always another tactic used in shit. It's like phrasing. That's why I always joke, My wife always gives me shit because I'm like the tone police. And I go, no, but like tone's important. Tone's important. Like if, or just phrasing in general. The one that's always funny, it's like, you know, I mean, tone, it's like if I went up to you and said, hey, how you doing? Or if I went, hey, how you doing? You know, those are different. And I go, so tone's important. But there's like another thing they'll do with like questioning. And it's why when everyone was everyone was bringing up that quote of Charlie Kirk, where, and I did think he answered the question poorly, but Charlie Kirk, was it worth it? Wait, what the fuck was it? Yeah. What was it? Charlie Kirk. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. And it's like, if you watch that whole clip, the way the question was asked, he shouldn't have, you know, tackled it, like answered it so directly like that. Cause it is like that quote sounds bad, but if you look at it and go just like, you know, the real question is like, do normal Americans who are safe with their guns, you know, because these mass shootings, should we take their guns away? You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, you don't just get to steal everyone's guns who's using the gun safely because some like really bad shit happens. And it's like, you know, so a lot of times, you know, being able to frame shit in a certain type of way is really useful to their directive that they're going through. Like the other one that's funny too, like you could really fuck people up with how you ask questions. Like just go up to someone and just go like, so have you stopped? Or wait, I'm gonna fuck this joke up. Let's just keep it moving.
Point, a staffer overheard Zelikow pressuring a CIA employee to accept Condoleezza Rice's recollection of intel briefings before the 9/11 attacks. Most damning of all, phone logs kept by Zelikow's assistant show that he was regularly taking calls from both Condoleezza Rice and Karl Rove, George W. Bush's top political advisor in the White House.
Americans, please never give your guns up. Yeah, I don't know. Well, and also too, it's like the way that they frame arguments with like the gun debates. Like, oh, you think you can attack the US, you think you can beat the US. They always frame it in the most retarded way possible. And it's like, yeah, most gun owning Americans aren't trying to beat the US government in a fight, but like as it's your God-given right to protect yourself and your home and your property and shit. You know what I mean? But like, so it's like they always frame it in that fucking way. Like a us versus them, which if we've gotten to the place of like the US government is like actively, I think Joe Biden made a joke about it, saying like about all the drones we have or something. Like, I forget what him or Obama said. I forget who the fuck it was. I apologize, but like, you know, implying like we have all that high tech equipment where it's like, also, I mean, well, to be fair, you know, we did get we killed a shit ton of people, but we didn't necessarily win Vietnam. You know what I mean? So there is that. And then it's like the problems we're going to face are way bigger than just like a fucking Second Amendment debate. And then, but also too, it's like, no, the real conversation is, yo, how did COVID go down in the countries that didn't have guns? Like those are the real conversations. And then it's like, what states in this country are more violent or have more deaths and shit like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, or you know what I'm saying? I'm approaching this topic retarded because I'm tired and I've been yapping for fucking 4 hours almost. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, like there's places have higher crime rates in areas where people aren't allowed to have guns like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the real fucking conversation to have, not this hypothetical where we're doing us versus them, civilians versus the U.S. government. You know what I mean? Joe Biden said your AR won't save you from our nukes concerning gun control. Yeah, and it's like, oh, so we're in a completely different headspace if you're literally gonna nuke us. You know what I mean? Like, even if I have nukes, it's not gonna save me from your nukes.
We reached out to Karl Rove for an explanation of this, and he denied having been in regular contact with Zelikow. But that is untrue. Even Zelikow himself acknowledges he received multiple calls from Karl Rove, but he claims they did not discuss the commission. He doesn't say what they did discuss. None of it is plausible.
It wasn't even like he was on the National Security Council. He didn't really have any information that would be helpful to the commission. Why is the commission's staff director having communications with the White House's political strategist?
From the outset, the commission started to advance the interests of Bush's neocon foreign policy agenda. When Team 3, the counterterrorism group, submitted their draft to Zelikow, he inserted sentences that tried to link al-Qaeda to Iraq to suggest the terrorist network had repeatedly communicated with the government of Saddam Hussein in the years before 9/11, and that bin Laden had seriously weighed moving to Iraq. In the end, those sentences were removed after staffers alerted the commissioners. But the commissioners did not prevent Zelikow from stacking public hearings with discredited neocons who towed the White House line about Iraq's connections to al-Qaeda, none of which were real. The first outside expert to testify to the commission was the Hoover Institute's Abraham Sofar. His written remarks to the commission include 8 references to Iraq and 5 references to Saddam Hussein. Keep in mind, this was a hearing on 9/11, which had nothing to do with Saddam Hussein or Iraq.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only credible link they had between that shit and 9/11 was when they were looking for Osama bin Laden. Lada? That's the fat version of him, Osama bin Laden. That made me giggle. Wasn't it just because they were trying to say he was like harboring? They were saying Iraq and Saddam Hussein, they were harboring terrorists, but there was still, even then, was like a very thin link to it.
Sofar spent most of his time at the public hearing talking about the need for preemptive invasions.
The need for preemptive actions stems ultimately from the conditions of modern life.
At the third hearing, Zelikow produced a florid and widely discredited neocon called Lori Milroy from the American Enterprise Institute. She appeared as a witness.
There is substantial reason to believe that these masterminds are Iraqi intelligence agents.
By April of 2004,
Dude, you barely got through that fucking sentence.
Former Senator Bob Kerrey of Nebraska, a Democrat, confronted Rice about Zelikow's ties to the administration.
Let me just ask you directly, and you can just give me keep it relatively short, but I wanted to get it on the record. Since he was an expert on terrorism, did you ask Philip Zelikow any questions about terrorism during transition, since he was a second person carded in the National Security Office and had considerable expertise?
Philip and I had numerous conversations about the issues that we were facing. Philip was, in fact, as you know, had worked in the campaign and helped with the transition plan. So yes.
Yes, you did talk to him about terrorism?
We talked, Philip and I, over a period of, we had worked closely together as academics.
Just during the transition, did you instruct him to do anything on terrorism?
Oh, to do anything on terrorism? To help us think about the structure of the terrorism, the Dick Clark's operations, yes.
Incredibly, the man in charge of the official story of 9/11.
I respect Tucker finding time to throw in Tucker face for like a good 2-second pause.
Philip Zelikow was the Bush administration advisor who decided to demote the White House's counterterrorism czar Dick Clark in the months before 9/11. Yet somehow these details, central though they are, were left out of the commission's final report. The 9/11 Commission report was a cover-up from beginning to end. That is true. And that's the most important starting point for those seeking to understand what actually happened on September 11th. The official story is a lie. What isn't clear is why our government and subsequent governments under subsequent presidents would want to continue that lie and cover up what actually happened on 9/11. What exactly were they hiding? And more important, who were they protecting? We found out. That's in the next installment of our 9/11 series.
Ooh, yeah, it's great job, Tuck. Yeah, and also Tucker face, just to be clear, it's not, because at first I went like, and I'm like, no, it's like the bottom half is shocked like that, but also scrunchy eyes with a little bit like, love a good Tucker face. Yeah, it's I think one of the most interesting takeaways from this one is kind of how, because the big thing everyone hits you with conspiracies is like, oh, so you think everyone's in on it and no one like revealed the shit. And from what I've gathered, there's like a shit ton of people. Tucker, you cliffhanging son of a bitch. Right? I think you can get, if I could throw, I guess, do a little advertising for Tucker. I think you can get it all on his website right now, but I ain't gonna fucking do that. I ain't in a hurry. Give it to me when you got it, Tuck. I don't care. But yeah, like, so like whatever the big conspiracy is, I'm not saying it's like fucking I'm not saying it's like fucking every single person at the government's locked in. But like there's clearly people who participate who just go like, what do you need me to do, boss? They don't ask questions. They don't know the bigger plan. They just know what they just follow orders and do what they need to do. Because that's what I got out of a lot of these people. Because it's like, unless I do also think too, the government is full of like true believers. I do think the government's full of like true believers who they buy into the propaganda. They buy into the propaganda and they just go along with whatever the thing is. And they think it's for the greater good. In actuality, they're helping like cover up a conspiracy. I think it's some of that, but yeah, I don't think everyone's in on it, but there's clearly a shit ton of people complicit in the act. But yeah, man, I'm very excited for the next one. All right. I have to get out of here. I got some stuff to do. I will be back tomorrow for you beautiful, beautiful people. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. This was a very fun day. We'll be back tomorrow and the next day to talk about some really cool fucking shit. Yeah, man. Look out for we'll do the Saturday bonus show. We'll do the Saturday bonus show on the Big Red in the Morning. I'm gonna bring back Big Red Book Club. So I'll try to do at least one of the Big Red Book Clubs every week. Big Red in the Morning live stream. So you can get that on the Big Red in the Morning Patreon. But always remember, go check out the Panties Patreon first. If you're not on there, you can get in there for a fucking $1. It's a good fucking time. You literally have no excuse. And yeah, please, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button on the Big Red in the Morning page. Honestly, if you're on the Panties page, hit the like button too. And if you're on the Panties page, please consider going over to let me pull up the link for you guys. If you guys are watching on the Panties page and you haven't God, I gotta piss so fucking bad. Let me just add this fucking link in here for you guys real quick. Yeah, so if you're on the Panties page, I'm trying really hard to get the Big Red in the Morning channel to 500. So please help your boy out. I'm getting pretty damn close, and once I get there, we'll stop bothering you about it. I am about 65. I'm 65 subscribers away. If you could please help me, I'm trying to get to 500. I love you guys. Have a great day. See you tomorrow on the Big Red in the Morning channel, Twitter and YouTube, or Twitch and YouTube. Have a good one. Love you guys. Be about a peace.